management that will shape the future. To mark the commencement of this prestigious event, may I invite our distinguished dignitaries to light the ceremonial lamp, symbolizes knowledge, wisdom, and enlightenment. So please welcome on stage.
Thank you to all the dignitaries for illuminating this occasion with their presence. Now I would like to invite Professor B.S. Sahai, Director, IIM Jammu, to felicitate Mr. Kamal Sharma, Senior Vice President, Vodafone Idea Limited.
Now, I would like to request Dr. Pratik Maheshwari to felicitate Professor Debjit Roy.
Moving forward, I would like to invite Dr. Praveen Vijayaraj to felicitate Professor S.P. Singh. Also, Director Sir would like to felicitate Professor Rameshwar Dubey through the virtual mode. So please, big round of applause for Professor Rameshwar Dubey. Professor Dubey has joined us from Montpellier Business School, France. So we'll be hearing from him later in the session. Yes. Yes, also, Director Sir would like to felicitate Professor H.M. Bilal. He's joining us from Liverpool Business School, John Moores University, UK.
Good morning, all.
Thank you for the felicitations. Moving forward, I would now like to invite Dr. Praveen Vijayaraj, Program Chair, IIM Jammu, to please come forward and deliver the welcome address. Please welcome him with a huge round of applause.
Good morning, distinguished dignitaries, esteemed speakers, and valued participants. So first of all, I would like to thank God Almighty to give this wonderful opportunity to welcome you all. So it is with great pride and honor that I will welcome you all to the International Conference on Next Generation Supply Chain, Trends, Innovation, and Best Practices. This event has brought together some of the brightest minds and influential leaders in the field of supply chain management. Allow me to introduce the esteemed dignitaries who have joined us today. So first, we are privileged to have our director, Professor B.S. Soy, and also the conference chair. His visionary leadership and endless dedication have made this conference a reality. We welcome you, sir. And next, we are delighted to welcome our Professor Rameshwar Dubey, the conference co-chair and professor at Montpellier Business School, France. Professor Dubey's expertise in supply chain, resilience, and sustainability has positioned him as a thought leader in the global arena. We welcome you, sir. And it's an honor to introduce Professor Surya Prakash Singh, head of the Department of Management Studies at IIT Delhi. He is pioneering research in operations management, industry 4.0, and blockchain technology adds great depth to our discussions, and we welcome you, sir. And we are also joined by our Professor Debajit Roy, Institute Chair, Professor at IIM Ahmedabad, whose groundbreaking work in logistics and warehouse optimization bridges academic excellence and real-world application. So we welcome you, sir. We are equally honored to have Professor H.M. Bilal from Liverpool Business School, UK, a leading voice in operations and quality management. Professor Bilal specializes in service innovation and sustainable supply chains, and his insights are invaluable to this forum. We welcome you, sir. Adding to the richness of this event is Mr. Kamal Sharma, Senior Vice President Commercial at Vodafone Idea Limited. With his vast industry experience and deep understanding of commercial strategies, Mr. Sharma will provide unique perspectives on the role of supply chain in driving business innovation. We welcome you, sir. Lastly, I extend a warm welcome to all our speakers, panelists, and participants, and my dear students. Your presence reflects a shared commitment to advancing supply chain practices for a sustainable and innovative future. And ladies and gentlemen, let us extend a round of applause to our dignitaries and speakers as we embark on this exciting journey together. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for such a warm welcome. Now, it's my honor to welcome respected Professor B.S. Sahai, Director of our esteemed institute, IIM Jammu, to address the gathering and share his vision for this conference. Professor Sahai's leadership and dedication have been a pivotal in shaping vision and execution of this conference. Let's give him a warm round of applause and welcome him.
Professor Rameshwar Dubey, Conference Chair. Professor Jagti Roy, Ahmedabad. Professor H.M. Bilal, Liverpool Business School. Professor S.P. Singh, IIT Delhi. And my colleagues and organizer, Pratik and Praveen, all delegates, my faculty members, and dear students. I'm not sure that how many delegates have already reached to IIM Jammu. But first of all, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to Professor Roy, who is the name in operations management. In fact, all people, Rameswar is there, Bilal is there, Devjit is there, and SP Singh is there. So please welcome, give a warm welcome to all of them. Devjit, when you're coming for the first time to IIM Jammu, and of course, one name I've missed out, yeah, Mr. Kamal Sharma. He's from industry, so please give him a big round of applause. You know, like I said, this institute is very new. All of you are seeing this thing. And I give credit to my colleagues, Pratik and Praveen, for organizing this conference under the guidance of Professor Rameshwar Dubey. Fact is that I have not contributed anything in this. I don't know why they are giving credit of chair of this conference, okay? So they have done really wonderful job. So please give a big round of applause to Pratik, Praveen, and this. The subject is very, very important, but before I speak about the subject, it's important that, let's say, I am Jammu. We used to claim that we are the youngest one, but one old man has become young. That is, I am Mumbai. So I say that otherwise we used to claim that we are the youngest one. We moved to this campus last year. This year in the February, Honorable Prime Minister inaugurated the campus. All the students are of MBA program. And we have another campus in Canal Road, but very soon they are also going to shift here. So once you are here, I will urge all of you, all delegates, to please visit campus, whether it is library, whether it is classrooms, whether it is management development center. We have just renovated, not renovated. In fact, we started that. It has been furnished. So all these facilities you must see, and whenever you feel that, okay, something is not up to the mark, please don't hesitate in pointing it out to us, because we would like to improve further. I would also like to request you to visit our student hostels and sports facility. We are trying our level best to ensure this thing that students get best of the facilities, best of the teachings, and we are trying to develop that ambience and environment. I keep telling this thing that we are very much blessed. हम ये कहते हैं कि हम तो माँ के चरणों में हैं. Every morning you rise, you wake up and you find that the darshan of Ma. There can't be a better place than this. I remember that first time I came long back to Sri Mata Vaishnav Devi. Second time I came when I was joining IIM Jammu. And that time we used to say that such a wonderful sight. Our neighbor is IIT. The whole economy of this area is improved. Jammu is the only place in the country which has got 3 institutes of national importance: IIT, IIM, and AIMS. And the best part is that things are really moving very fast, moving for good. Whatever media reports you find about Jammu and Kashmir, things have really changed, drastically changed. You know, like say you can spend time moving on the road of Srinagar in the late evening, as late as 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, like that. So things have really changed. People keep talking about Jammu and Kashmir. I say that Jammu is the safest place for ladies. They can walk anytime. In last 7 years, this is my 7th year, I've not heard even a single incident claiming that, okay, such incident has happened, untoward incident has happened. People have very high respect for lady. Many times I wonder that there are many areas which are really very, very unsafe in the country. But that way I must tell you that Jammu and Kashmir is a very safe place. At times, we keep hearing something, history incidents, but those are isolated incidents. So I'm really thankful to all of you who have come from different parts of the country, and my colleagues have joined from different parts of the world. So welcome to each one of you. Like say when in 2020, government introduced national education policy. We felt that we should be doing something which is really useful and relevant to the society and to the nation. And the first thing we did that, as I said, that three institutes of national importance joined hands together. They are located here. So all of us joined hands together and we started offering the course, one of the unique course, two unique courses. First is that we started dual degree program jointly with IIT Jammu. They do BTech from IIT Jammu and directly join IIM Jammu without writing CAT. It has got certain caveat that what should the CGPA percentile and other conditions are there. As long as they are meeting, probably we were discussing with and I was sharing with Devajit, I was telling that, look, now we are exploring that with other IITs also. Because many IITs, they are asking that, okay, why don't you extend the same facility to other IITs? So probably we'll be exploring that thing. Second thing, what we did is that, during Corona time, it was a very tough call for all of us. Everywhere there was negativity. So we felt that I think the doctors should be doing their job, doctor's job, and let administration part of it should be left to administrators. So we introduced a program called MBA in Hospital Administration and Healthcare Management, jointly with IIMS Jammu and IIT Jammu, where we take care of administration, health part is taken care of by IIMS and technology part is taken care of by IIT. So this is a unique example, like say, probably the first solid example of implementation of national education policy. We have PhD programs, we have executive MBA programs, we have 5-year integrated program in management, wherein we offer BBA and MBA. And of course, because of NEP now, it gives an ample opportunity for entry and exit options. So that part is there. Now, coming back to this, today's topic, when we talk of supply chain, this reminds me that in 1998, when I had organized a conference on supply chain, global supply chain at MBI Gurgaon. At that time, people used to say, because that was a buzzword, people had not heard of him, in fact, in late 90s. I was going through some literature and I found catch hold of an article on supply chain, and I felt that because the projects, materials, manufacturing, these are very close to my heart. Systems, they are very close to my heart. So when I was reading that article, I felt that such a wonderful article. What a wonderful concept. Why we are not using it? Because all the time we used to think in silos that, okay, manufacturing, inventory, projects, everything in silos. And that time, after thinking that thing, like we decided that we should be doing this conference. Today, when my young friends, they came out with the idea of organizing conference, next gen supply chain trends, innovation, and best practices. And it is being jointly done by IIM Jammu and Montpellier Business School, France. And this whole team, they really work very hard to put in the place. But why all of a sudden the subject is for last 28 years? Now imagine, I was just counting this morning, I was thinking 98 mein kiya hai, to abhi kitna saal ho gaya? So precisely it is 27 is over, this is 28th year. And I know this thing that time, like say 700 people from different parts of the country participated. Out of that, 70 chief executives and 70% delegates were from industry. In Corona time or otherwise, you must have heard many a time our Honorable Prime Minister talking about fix the supply chain, fix the supply chain, fix the supply chain. whether it is manufacturing, whether it is services, it is anything for that matter. Supply chain is so important. You like say we are third largest economy in the world. Very soon we are going to be now almost say fourth largest economy, and very soon we are going to be fifth largest economy in the world. The total GDP of India is 323.65 trillion. I'm talking in rupees. In rupee, if I am correct, it is around 3.68 or 86 billion dollar, $1 trillion. Sorry, GDP $323.65 trillion. Remember this figure. And you know that what is the logistic cost? That time also we used to say 14%, 15%. Today also we are talking the same thing. In fact, in one of the minister's speech, I read somewhere that it is around 16% of the GDP. Now just calculate 16% or 14% or even 13%, whatever percent is there. If you talk of 16%, then this amount is 51.78 trillion rupees. 51.78 trillion rupees. So we are talking a business of 51.78 trillion rupees. Just imagine. And this logistics supply chain is not really adding any value to the product or services. This is essential, it is required, but it is not transforming the business. It is not transforming your product. It is not transforming your services. But this money is we have to spend because goods have to reach at the right place. We have to provide services at the right place. Those things are very much required, but it is not really adding any value. And just imagine that if we reduce just by 1%. So take out of that thing, $51.78 trillion. 1% reduction. It will make huge difference. Government has set a target of reducing it to 9%. In fact, you like say, if you talk of any developed nation, they have logistics cost of something around, it varies anything from 7 to 9%, whether you talk of US, whether you talk of some countries of Europe, fine. So they are spending something around 7, 8%, 9%, something like that. So why we are spending 14% or 15% of that? So there is ample scope. And if we are able to save that money can be spent for the growth and development of the nation. That money can be spent for generating more employment. That money can be spent for developing new infrastructure, new facilities. So we are talking here pure business. And that's why Honorable Prime Minister and the whole team is working very hard to ensure this thing. It was never realized, people were not able to visualize this thing, that it is not just moving goods from one place to other. Important is that, you know, like say, and how to do this thing. There are many challenges. Best part is that in last 10 years, air connectivity has improved like anything. From 75 airports, we have now more than 140 airports. Road linkages has improved significantly. Nobody could have thought of that. Okay, from Delhi to Meerut, you will be reaching in 1 hour's time. In fact, in 1 hour's time, I was not able to reach to my in-law's house, who they are in Ghaziabad, from Delhi to that. It was so terrible thing. Today, you just drive down, you enjoy. People used to thought very incremental thinking, you know, like say, chalo, 2 route ka hai, to isko 4 route kar denge. 4 route ka hai, to 6 route kar denge. Something like that. Very limited thinking. They were never thought of that, yes, this expressway can be of 14 lanes, 16 lanes, 18 lanes. And this is what is happening now. We are developing this infrastructure which is going to solve many problems, solving many problems. Just imagine how much petrol and diesel we waste at the junctions. That has minimized. You know, like say this toll bridge. Using technology, FASTag. You need not to wait because just you go with the same speed and it will catch that what it is you're crossing and your money is deducted from your account. As simple as that. So technology has to be chosen to be used to a large extent. You know, let's say we have this Chenab bridge, the tallest bridge in the world, taller than Eiffel Tower, fine. Testing and everything is done. And hopefully this commercial, train will start flying in the first quarter of next year. In fact, the idea is that, okay, by this year and it can be done. Just imagine, जम्मू से श्रीनगर जाना इतना डिफिकल्ट होता है. कई बार तो यहाँ पे गाड़ियां जो हैं, you will find that okay, all vehicles are waiting for 1 day, 2 day, 3 days. Why? There is a landslide. How much money and energy is wasted in that? Once this Chenab Bridge is in place, it will take just 3 hours to reach, or maximum 4 hours to reach from Srinagar to Jammu. And this, it will be connected to all over the country. There will be direct trains starting from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, sort of thing. Just imagine. And it's not only movement of people. Movement of people is very much important. It's a movement of goods. The connectivity, inflow will increase, business will increase, opportunity will increase. So it's important for all of us to understand that how much money is being. Many times we start wondering that India has a capability, India can do wonders, and India is doing wonders. What is required is that we must believe in ourselves that yes, we are capable of doing anything and everything. It's Indian engineers, scientists, engineer people, they are doing all these things. So my urge to all of you is that, because you like say, urge to all of you is that please look into this thing. Supply chain, like say, nowhere it is a compulsory course, but I made it a point that wherever I went, we made it that, okay, supply chain is subject which cuts across all functional areas, whether it is marketing, finance, or operations, strategy, economics, any area you talk of. And we made it a compulsory course. So 2 courses we did compulsory, rather 3 courses. One is that supply chain, second is business analytics, because analytics is the, being an industrialist, so I understand what analytics is. But we felt that yes, every student must be learning that subject. And third is that entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship never means that, okay, you start your own business or startup. Whatever you do, you should have entrepreneurial mind. That's really very much important. We were talking for a long time, multimodal transportation. Time has come now. When we find that rail, road, ports, waterways, everything is well connected now. And you will find that the same ticket you can use this, because waterways, we were not giving any importance. Government realized and government did it and government is doing it. So I think that this is a very fascinating area, very excellent opportunity, career opportunity for all those, for industry, everybody. And on top of it, for the nation, if we are able to manage our supply chain effectively and efficiently, it will serve the nation and the mankind in a large extent. And it will save a lot of money to the nation, which can be used for other purposes also. I'm sure that this 2-day conference is going to be very enjoyable, fascinating, and each one of you are going to learn. Please have a debate on this thing and come out with your ideas. Let me just, before I conclude, I would like to say that we are very much open for any collaboration, any cooperation with any institute, as long as, because, like say, I say that research is not confined to any institute. It cuts across the boundary. And that's why you see so many partners are there from different parts of the world. In any way, if you want to collaborate with us, please feel free and contact us. Once again, welcome to all esteemed dais and all of you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Sahai, for your insightful and encouraging remarks and for setting the stage for the discussions ahead. Now, I have the privilege to invite Professor Rameshwar Dubey, who is joining us today virtually from Montpellier Business School, France. Also, he is associated with IIM Jammu as an adjunct professor, and he serves as the co-chair for this event. With an impressive academic and research career spanning years, he is globally recognized for his expertise in supply chain resilience, circular economy, and sustainable operations. Professor Dubey will brief us on the key highlights of the conference. So let's hear from him and welcome him with a huge round of applause.
Thank you, Kar. Thank you very much for giving a nice introduction. I hope I'm audible to everyone. It's a great moment, actually, and thank you, Professor Sahai, for laying the foundation of this conference the way back when, in the year 2019, he visited Montpellier Business School, and myself and Professor Silforapun and Professor B.S. Sahai, we had several rounds of conversation that we should make this conference happen. But as you know that it was a COVID era and a lot of things we have seen. But of course, the COVID crisis has taught us a lot of things, and has further created the more importance of the supply chain. So I don't want to take much time. I just want to make this clear that exactly what is the objective behind this conference and what we thought on this, and so that we'll be moving forward. And this presentation will be briefly shared after, and I will invite my colleague Professor Silforapun, who is also joined in the early morning, who's the head of the Doctoral School of Management, and I'm sure that he will introduce about the doctoral program which he has, because as you know that with IIM Jammu we have been collaborating since 2019 onward on several fronts, and doctoral program is one of the area where we are looking to strengthen our collaborative efforts. So in this table of content, I just want to briefly outline that exactly why do we have organized a joint international conference on pressing issues. And this is something that we want to lay the foundation, that exactly what is the reason, what is the theoretical rationale behind having a joint international conference. How do we tackle some of the concerns that often trouble young operations supply chain management scholars? And this is something that we don't address most of the time. And this is something that we need to understand, because myself, my Professor S.P. Singh, we have discussed a lot actually on these themes, and we really felt that, how we can tackle. And luckily that we have got a great scholars like Professor Devjit Roy, who is one of the pioneer when it comes to Indian scholars, like having a big name when it comes to operations management. Professor S.P. Singh, one of the excellent operation research. He always has inspired me in many ways for last 20 years. How does this joint conference help foster rich diversity? It's very important actually, and in fact, Professor S.P. Singh and Professor Devjit Roy and Professor B.S. Saha all are here, and we are very fortunate that all of them are present. And it's very important for all the participants, and very grateful to all the participants from all across the country have participating in this process. It's very important to understand that's very important that we should create, we should delineate between operations management, supply chain management, and operations research. Unfortunately, we always have visualized this field of research using a decision science perspective. Well, that is important, but we have to understand that operations management is a broader perspective. As Professor Sahai has mentioned, that supply chain cannot be separated from entrepreneurship, as well as we cannot separate from the other field of social sciences and psychology and other aspects. And this is something we need to embrace, the interdisciplinary nature of the research. And that is what general operations management embodies clearly, actually. And that's what I'm going to present, that how Montpellier Business School is basically very rich when it comes to methods, when it comes qualitative research sometimes has been often ignored in this part of the world, and which is very important, that you cannot build theory without qualitative research. And this is something that we need to appreciate and understand the importance of this. So the objective of the joint conference is to, foster rich diversity in the methods and philosophical understanding. It's very important that when a student, pursuing their research or thus trying to tackle a very important problem, they need to have a solid philosophical understanding. This is something which is one of the missing link in the existing scholars, and most of the students, they don't have understanding about the ontological and epistemological assumptions. They don't have a clarity when it comes to their thesis. Probably these sorts of training is not provided. And this is the objective of this conference, is to really brainstorm and understand exactly that how Indian schools IIMs and IITs should come together to tackle this big problem, because when it comes to operations management, I'm sorry to say, there are not much articles. In fact, less than 0.01% of the articles getting published in a top tier journals, which includes IJP, IJOPM, and of course the leading journals includes like Journal Operations Management, Production Operations Management, MSOM, Management Science, and many other journals. So why we fail, and this is something that we need to understand, and that's we need to work together in order to tackle the problem. The problem itself in the understanding of the issues. And what are the key takeaways from this conference is very important to understand. So I just briefly cover each of this dimension and can bring my colleague, Professor Silforapont, who have been very instrumental, especially when it comes to this MOU and this collaborative effort. But Professor Silforapont has been pioneer in qualitative research, and he has been playing an important role in shape. And of course, my colleague, Professor Belal, who is a very, he's working extensively when it comes to servitization, which is a very interesting aspect within the operations management and marketing concept. This research has evolved actually. So the pressing issues are like, the research in operations management has been often criticized for not providing the nuanced solutions to the real life problems. We need to understand, we need to echo the concern being floated by Professor B.S. Sahai, that how can we solve the problems, most of our solutions are probably highly theoretical, and probably they are not validated in the real life scenarios. That shouldn't be the case. We should be able to make much impact, and that is what in research excellence framework of the UK, it is being clearly reflected that until unless any study doesn't make much impact, there is no value. So we have to understand, we have to move out from there, and that's something which is very important. Young scholars in the operation supply chain management frequently lack clarity on several fronts, including a solid philosophical foundation, ability to identify research gaps, and the skills to propose guiding research questions that help advance theoretical boundary. It's very important that exactly why we are pursuing the research, and the gaps are often actually they are weakly framed. Sometimes we read XYZ articles, and based on cherry picking kind of literature review, and we arrive at research gap. That is not research gap. And I motivate scholars to read seminal articles by Alvesen and Sandberg 2011, which talks about that gaps should be challenged. You should build tension. You should challenge existing assumptions. That is a way to take the forward actually, and that's something which is very important. Secondly, this is the final, and this is not only applicable to almost 99.99% of the scholars pursuing the research in operations management within the Indian and Asian context. Even I also, like in my early 5 years of research career, didn't have a much clue and much idea about what kind of publication it should be. We really lack awareness actually, because now there is a growing trend that we publish anywhere, actually, any kind of journal. Well, we have to understand that there is a seminal outlet, where you should publish actually, and within the operations management, you should be very careful about selecting your outlet. Don't let your publications appear anywhere. For example, in Research Excellence Framework in UK, we clearly prevent the scholars from publishing, sometimes we publish operations management article in marketing journals, or interdisciplinary nature, we appreciate it, but that doesn't mean that you publish anywhere XYZ. And this is sometimes myself and Professor S.P. Singh always used to discuss that nowadays people are publishing in tourism management and claiming they have got an A-star publication. I feel that it's a very painful for an operations management publishing in tourism management or XYZ. So we need to be very, very clear that where you want to publish. Like until unless you don't have EJOR or transportation research, or you don't have a POMS and JOMS, and don't expect that you can actually clear the hurdles of the interview process in any top reputable IIMs, or including IIM Jammu, because they are very particular about that, what contribution you have made to your field of knowledge. And this is why this conference opened the front actually. It is a very important for all of you to take this as an opportunity to brainstorm, redesign your strategy, that how you move forward. It's very, very important. And I'm very particular about this. Please do not publish XYZ. It's better to have only 5 publications on your CV in the entire life, It's better to have only 5H index, but those 5 articles worth enough. And that's something very important. How we can tackle this pressing concern, as Professor Biasa has clearly mentioned multiple times, let's collaborate. And this is the best way. It's not collaboration is often misunderstood post COVID era. It's not just put your name here and there and just collaborative. No, collaborative means that you should exchange your ideas, debate, have a conversations, and this is something which is very important. Most of the times we just collaborate only in terms of publications. Well, publication is, believe me, it's not a, it's an indicator of a research. It's one of the outlets actually. When you talk about collaboration, it requires you to have a grilling conversations, you need to have a tension, you need to have a debate, and that's why you can take it forward. So sharing the best practices and developing culture of mentor and mentee. We are very fortunate to have in the campus, and I request all those people who are on the campus, they can interact with Professor Devjit and Professor SP Singh, who are really pioneer and very critical in nature. And they have really demonstrated. In fact, Professor Devjit, who had published in top journals like Journal Operations Management, POMS, and Transportation Science, it becomes like, very it is a really proud moment for all Indians to be here. And Professor SP Singh, I always, he has motivated me, because when I and Professor SP Singh have spent times in IIT Kanpur, and we both share the similar supervisor like Professor Akish Sharma. And I still remember that Professor SP Singh was the benchmark in the entire IIT Kanpur, because he was the only person during his doctoral program. He published extensively in top journals like IGPA, and he always motivated us. So Professor SP Singh was a benchmark for me in those 20 years. In fact, I really modeled him, and he's fortunate to be here. So it's very important that you should actually talk to Professor SP Singh and the Professor Devjit Roy, and of course Professor BSR. He's someone who played a very important role in the late 90s to popularize this field. In fact, those who have read his articles in the olden, it's really single author papers in those days, it matters a lot. Developing interdisciplinary approach, and that's why we have a Professor Silverpon who will talk about. And I'll also talk about that how entrepreneurship and operations management and other disciplines have actually come forward actually to solve some of the critical problems. Especially entrepreneurship and supply chain is an area where we are looking forward, and we have very pioneer. I'm not saying that we are the number one or number two in the world, but Montpellier Business School, when it comes to entrepreneurship, I can tell you it's one of the best in the Europe. On many fronts, we have people publishing in entrepreneurship theory and practice, journal business venturing. In fact, we have people publishing in California Management Review, and I will demonstrate some of the articles in the recent time got published within Montpellier Business School to demonstrate that how the research, and that is what, it's not about I'm showcasing, it's an opportunity for us to collaborate on multiple fronts and advance the theoretical boundary. That is the objective here. And creating an awareness towards ethical publishing and focusing on quality over quantity. This is, I always tell, please publish one article. That's more important than publishing 20 very bad articles, because those bad articles can bring bad reputation to your school, family, and everyone. So it's very, very important that understand ethical publishing. In Liverpool, John Moore, Liverpool Business School, and in Montpellier, we do not proceed ahead for the data collection until unless it has been cleared by the ethical team. And we talk about ethics. Ethics is the core of everything. When we say that research is the core of everything, ethics is very core to everything. In fact, these are the very important things that I should say that young scholars should appreciate. Please do not pay attention to quantity. If you have published 100 B category publication and somebody has published one A star will be always 1,000 times much higher value than this. Unfortunately, there's a so-called publishing bonus culture within Indian systems have really spoiled the true essence of research. But I'll tell you, in UK, even if you publish in management science, probably they don't even offer you coffee. I remember University of Liverpool actually, when one of the professor published in management science and said, I've got my paper in management science. He said, we don't count management science, we count Nobel Prize. We have 11 Nobel Prize, and when we have going to have a 12th. So let's think about those things. We need Nobel Prize winners in Indian environment, and this is only possible through the support of these scholars we have. So let's think about producing Nobel Prize winners from our country rather than chasing numbers. That doesn't count. Nobody cares how many papers you have. Nobody cares how many citations you have. What matters is quality and what contribution you're making to the society. That is something which is important. The scientific relevance of this joint conference, and to be very the objective is that to create an awareness towards multi methods. There are many scholars, they have a confusion that can I use qualitative method? Why not? If your research question demands qualitative method, you should go. Unfortunately, there's a reverse engineering. I feel very sorry. People have methods, have tools in their mind, and then they bend their research question accordingly. That shouldn't happen. It should move in the forward direction. Based on your research questions and objectives, you decide which methods, which philosophy will be the best suited. There is no demarcation when it comes to, because remember, when you want to contribute or build a new theory, or you are researching a new field, then qualitative research is important. If you really want to provide a micro level solutions, go for distance science modeling on operations research. If you really want to test a theory, go for empirical research using cross-sectional or longitudinal data. That depends upon the nature, the constructs, and the thing. So it depends upon the questions, it depends upon the objectives. So please do not have a certain level of biases that, okay, I'm using this method, whether it's a best fit or not. That's totally wrong. There are many articles within management science based on case research or inductive theory has got published. So it is not necessarily true that this method or this method. Unfortunately, we don't understand the method, and that is the reason we commit mistakes while pursuing the research. Whatever you do, be solid, be thorough. And the Montpellier Business School has a solid foundation when it comes to case-based research. And that is what we have a right person, Professor Silveropon, who pioneered in the case research, and he played a very significant role in building the case research environment within Montpellier Business School and theory building. In fact, I will share his one of the pioneer paper article, which actually has served a foundation for building theory using metaphor, which is one of his article. And Liverpool, I'll tell you that whether many people or no, action research was born in the laboratory of Liverpool. So when it comes to action research and grounded theory, this is the city where you have the best people. In fact, Professor Choi from the Liverpool, he is also the editor-in-chief of transportation research. Suppose if sometimes you've traveled to Liverpool, you have the best minds. When you travel to Montpellier Business School, you have a very good interdisciplinary research. I'm showing you some of the examples from the Montpellier Business School in the recent time. You can see that recently we got an article published in Management Science by Nick. Professor Silveropon, the articles in Metaphors and Operations Management, which I was mentioning, it's one of the kind of article. We have a Journal of Operations Management, which is lying at the intersection of entrepreneurship and operations management. Recently, we got an article published in POMS, and this professor is actually the mentee of Professor Silveropon. And I'm proud to say that this guy has published in POMS and in the California Management Review. And I have not shown you the articles got published in Journal of Business Venturing or Entrepreneurship, or including Academy Management Review and AMJ, because I've chosen only those articles which contribute to the theoretical boundary of operations and supply chain. And that's why I've selected some of the examples. What are the key takeaways from this conference? Recognize the difference between theory and practical application. This is something which is very important. How various philosophical and methods and assumptions can influence the field of operations supply chain. This is very important. Acknowledge the importance of research outlets in shaping your research career. Please be cautious where you publish. It's not that you publish anywhere X, Y, Z and claim that you've got a publication. Don't, as an operations management, somebody's publishing tourism management or something like that, there's a big question mark on his credibility and his research background. Emphasize the scientific rigor and the prioritize quality over quantity. That is the objective of and this is the message I want to go. I would like to, I'm ready to take your questions, whenever you can reach out to me either to my Montpellier or Liverpool email ID. I would like to invite Professor Silverpon, who's here, to throw some light on the collaborative doctoral program that we are going to have with, IIM Jammu, and his role in shaping the research culture. So thank you very much, actually, for giving an opportunity, and thank you to all the participants who have shown interest in this conference. Please enjoy your 2 days, and please take up all opportunity to learn from the best scholars we have, best people around. And not only that, don't limit yourself to only operation supply chain. I invite you to look from the marketing and entrepreneurship angle, because I am in the favor of interdisciplinary research, because that is the only way you can solve complex problems. So Professor Silverpon, can you join?
Yes, thank you very much. Could you hear me? You can hear me correctly? Yeah, I can see Professor Bellanti. Yes. So thank you very much. So dear conference participants, thank you very much from Professor B.S. Sahai for his kind invitation and his insightful presentation, and thank also to my colleague and friend Professor Dubev also for his inciting presentation, and Professor Belal as well. Basically, I will speak, no more than 20 minutes. I try to actually build upon the previous presentations to make it valuable. It's dear conference participants, and I do not have slides. It's basically on a face-to-face interaction. So it is truly my distinct honor and privilege to welcome you all to this international conference on next-gen supply chain trends, innovations, and best practices. This groundbreaking event is a collaborative endeavor organized by three esteemed institutions: IIM Jammu, we should say MBS, not more like Montpellier Business School, but it's MBS School of Business, France, and Liverpool Business School, Liverpool Jammu University, UK. So I would like to thank Professor B.S. Sahai for his kind invitation, as well as Professor Pratik Maheshwari for also the great organization of the event. So today the key word is collaboration. And the keyword is very much to which extent collaboration between research institutions, well-established like Liverpool Business School, Montpellier Business School, and IIM Jammu could actually add value to these debates regarding how to come up with sustainable supply chains, being more effective, more efficient, more innovative. So today I've got a special role, like Professor Dubé said. I'm not only a professor of operations and supply chain management at Montpellier Business School, but I'm also the director of all DBA programs, which have been actually an amazing success, not only in multiple locations in China, but also in Tunisia. Post-COVID era, we have also digital DBA, which works really well with top executive CEOs from North America, South America, Asia, Europe. All continents are represented. So today, as the director of DBA program, I'm thrilled to speak up in front of such an esteemed and distinguished audience. We have a common interest. We are united by a common and a shared commitment to advancing the field of supply chain management. So as I said in my introduction, the keyword today is collaboration between governmental institutions, research institutions, and industry leaders. So I think that's the keyword today. It's about how to end up with valuable synergies. So during this 2-day conference, we gather at the intersection of academia, industry, and innovation to explore the transformative forces shaping the future of global supply chain. And in doing so, as you must have seen, and that's why you're here.
Thank you, Professor Sil, for your great introduction. And we are looking forward, and the participants will be further getting any questions they have. They will get back to you much and more. So,
Okay.
yeah. So briefly, like after this, then Professor Bilal can come and briefly speak. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, so, well, like 10 minutes max, like I can shrink it absolutely. So today, what should be the mindset of participants and organizer? It's the power of collaboration. That's very important. Today, what is at stake? We have to break down silos. We have to foster interdisciplinary dialogue. What is at stake is co-creating knowledge solution that drives systematic change. Okay, that's very important. So, as Professor Dubé said, let's go straight to the point. We have all tremendous responsibility when we are researchers. Today, we are working on the conference. Great. Me, I'm working actually with DBA candidates, so managers who want to become doctor in management. We have all the same interests, how bridging theory and practice. That's what matters the most. And we have to create knowledge, but building upon, as Professor Dubé said, sounding and scientific based approaches. It has to be very rigorous. So that should be the mindset of this conference. What I want you to say today is through our collaborative efforts. So within the conference, but also within DBA journey, we aim to three things. Okay, we aim to drive efficiency, we aim to foster innovation, and we aim to build resilience. Okay, so that should be the mindset when you participate to sessions today. Is to which extent together we can actually improve driving efficiency, foster innovation, and building resilience. And the specific word I want to say is collaborative applied research. What sets our approach apart is the deeply collaborative nature of applied research project. So these projects are designed to what? Engage industry leaders. That's very important. To leverage academic rigor. Our research institution, IIM Jammu, MBS, and LBS provide the frameworks, the tools, the methodology to approach these challenges systematically and scientifically. And three, produce tangible outcomes. Like Professor Dubé said, what matters is quality, not quantity. And we have to be cautious because with bonus culture, it's very important to focus on sound research. So partnerships nowadays, this is the keyword. That's why as I said earlier, I have partnered with academic partners in China. We have going to do shortly a DBA joint agreement with Shanghai. We have also this amazing global executive DBA with Liverpool. And thanks to Professor B.S. Sahai, the idea is to cultivate this collaborative research collaboration with IIM Jammu. So again, to conclude, today it's about collaborative research. It's about in an ethical manner. It's about trying to find synergies between industry leaders because you are extremely busy. Researchers, we are extremely busy. And also we have policymakers also who are extremely busy. So the moments when actually we can have critical debates that either when you are a DBA candidate or when you are a participant to the conference. So what matters the most, as Professor Dubé said, you have only 2 days. That's going to go really fast and take it wisely. So thank you very much. And I wish you a productive and enriching conference experience. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Indeed, collaborative ecosystems are the key to unlocking efficiency. Thank you, Professor Dubé and Professor Farapun, for that comprehensive briefing, and your overview has truly highlighted the significance of this conference to foster the global dialogue. Now, I would like to invite Professor H.M. Bilal from Liverpool Business School, and his expertise encompasses global supply chain management and logistics. Let's welcome him.
Yeah, thank you very much. Am I audible? Yeah?
Yes, you're audible. You're audible. Please.
Yeah, thank you very much. So my sincere thanks to the director of IIM Jammu, Professor B.S. Saha, and Professor Rameshwar from Montpellier Business School, Professor Cyril, for giving me opportunity to share something with the participants. And I would like to give thanks to Mr. Kamal Sharma, I think. Yeah. Mr. Kamal Sharma for his inspiring presence here. I would like to give thanks to all participants and partners for making this event successful. I would like to share something about the LGMU research and next generation of business operations management. As Professor Dubey has mentioned, that it is not only the supply chain view, we need to think about the marketing and entrepreneurships and other disciplines as well. I'm H.M. Bilal. I'm the reader in Operations and Quality Management and Program Manager in MSc Management in Liverpool Business Schools. Professor Dubey has already shared something about the LGMU, but I would like to share a bit about our university. We have 200 years of LGMU history from industrial era to today. And we are well-established university in UK. And our research is very impactful for the citizen, basically, and for the policymaker. As you know, that our Vice President and Chief Executive, Professor Mark Power, he told that we are an inclusive civic university transforming life and future by placing students at the heart of everything we do. So students in our heart, and our research is very innovative and impactful. We have 3 faculties. One of them is business and law faculties. And in this faculty, Liverpool Business School is one of the school. And we're aligning our visions and aim with the Liverpool John Moores University, which is translating the engagement, regional development. We are creating or co-creating social values where we are meeting the sustainability. We're trying to meet the sustainability. And of course, we are taking care of the digital advancement and innovation as well. Okay, and this is our director's statements, Professor Adam Shaw. He is also telling that students in our heart, and we are our research and knowledge exchange and our unique ability to enhance students' learning. And we remain rooted and connected to business community across the city and beyond. So we are civic pioneer university based on Liverpool area in UK. In Liverpool Business Schools, we have some research groups. One of them is operations management related. And in this research group, in this research center, I'm leading servitization research group. The servitization concepts, it's not a new concept. It is an old concept, but this concept is coping with the time and still practicing and ongoing practicing by changing the business operations systems model. Okay? And very few universities in UK, they are practicing the servitizations research. But some university, yes, they are doing well, like Aston University, University of Manchester, and University of Cambridge, they are doing well in servitization. But in Liverpool, I think Liverpool Business Schools, and I'm leading that group. We are doing servitization related research. In 2022, I have published a book. This book is on also servitizations. I have used practices and case studies in these books, and I have written in terms of knowledge field this book. So this book is available in online platform like Amazon, eBay, Rakuten. Many retailers, they are selling this book. So you can check if you want. Actually, I'm inspired about the servitization research when I have read Theodore Levy's articles, Marketing Myopia, and it has been published in 1960, and published by Harvard Business Review. In his research, he always telling that business needs to be explained with the broader sense, and the leaders need to think about the customer expectation and the time. So business model will be changed time to time, and business operation systems will be cope with that business models. I think based on his articles, Bandarmir and Radha in 1988, they have written an article, Adding Values by Adding Services, and published in European management journals. When I read that journals, then I saw that it is service encapsulations in the business operations model. Thereby, they can meet the customer demands and the market demands. So I have tried to do something, and I redefined the servitization definition. Although many scholars, they have defined servitization in their way, but I would like to say that it is the business transition process or company's transition process from one era to another era by innovating their capabilities and innovating their processes. Thereby, they can translate market demands, they can meet customer demands, and they can create or co-create value with the users. Okay. Though I do like Tim Barnes' definition also. He's also telling that organization capability, it is innovation of organization's capabilities and process. And like company is changing from selling products to product sell service systems. As I have stated earlier, that it is not a new concept. It is an old concept and started from the 1970s. Okay. In 70s decade, like you may remember that there is a Pong table tennis game. So the Pong table tennis game, it has introduced by Atari. So they are not only giving that game, they are using the products to play that game. That means the product and service giving together. And if you see that from 1980 to 1990s, they have changed the business design and business model, and they are telling that customer wants solutions, so we need to provide the solutions. And I think in that way, the Lexus automotive car company, they have started to provide the after sales service, and they have launched the Lexus lounge for the dealers and for the customers. Thereby, they can protect their products. So they have changed their business model by giving the after sales service. In the same way, like Volvo Trucks, they have included engineers and staffs to protect their products for the customers, for giving the customer, and they are connecting customers for innovating their business model or for innovating their product as well. There are some more examples like Scandinavian Airlines, Apple, and Escape. I would like to say about the Escape. They are the Swedish bearing manufacturing company. The bearing was very, very high quality, but they faced difficulties to protect or to lock in their customers or to acquire more market because the longevity of the bearing. Then they have tried to find out that why is it happening, and they found that it is more about the customer installation.
Professor Bilal, can you wind up immediately because now just conclude it, okay?
Yeah. For customer installing and lubricating the bearing services. So they have found that problems and have tried to solve that problems. Okay. And next era, like 1990 and 2000s, the business model and its operations has been changed from protecting the products to result oriented. That means not only the problem solvings, customer wants the results. So they have redesigned or restructured their business model, like health insurance company. They are designing their business model like the wellness systems. Okay, so they are connecting customers. They are networking with the customers and giving the ensure of their wellness of health. Again, if I say about the IBM, that they have restructured their business model about the finance and medical decision making by leading the cognitive computing systems. So this is how the company have changed their business model. And again, like the Baxter Healthcare, they are providing service to the professionals from pre-treatment to post-treatment, because the Baxter, they are giving the kidney disease related solutions. So how the patients will be treated before coming for the operations and during the operations and after operations of the kidney. So they are providing or sharing the knowledge between their professionals and customers. This is how they are connecting to the customers. Again, about the service, financial service, like I would like to say about the SWIFT systems, that by the networking systems, you can send your money from one bank to another bank across the country or globals. So this is how the company is changing their business model. Again, the next era, like it is the digital era, the game-changing era has been started from 2000 to 2010. That time, internet, email, and chatting has been started, and it is included with the business, and thereby the service providers, they are connecting to their customers, and they are hearing the customer voice on time, that what's their demand and how can they design their business or how can they design their products. So customers can receive the service on time, and they can get the solutions on time. In that case, they are using big data, self-service systems, and of course the on-time interactions. The examples of ecosystems, if you say like the Amazon, eBay, Booking.com, Rakuten,
Excuse
Alibaba,
me,
they
Professor
are,
Bilal.
yeah.
So, with regards, we are getting short of time. So, can you please conclude it quickly?
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Yes.
So this is how the business model has been changing, and like 2010 to 20, it is the smartphone era, and the app systems has been launched. You know that without app and the smartphone, you cannot do or operate a business. So advanced level technology is adapting with the business model, uh, and I would say that service is anywhere and everything is service. So this is the motto for the business model, you know, the people that there is many platform. A customer can choose as their needs. Again, today the customer thinking we will not be the ownership, we will think about the usership. So third party, they are giving service and they're take caring the properties of customers, whatever they want and when it's needed, they can deliver to the customers. So this is how business operations systems or business operations model is changing. Even in logistics and supply chain also, they are using cloud computing systems and cloud technologies and blockchain or AI technologies for connecting or cooperating with their partners and customers. So I would say that company must innovate continuously to stay competitive with the markets, and they need to adapt with the advanced level technologies. And for the sustainability, they should be translate or they should be think to meet the social development goals for their sustainability. Again, I would say that we are here, and I'm open for collaboration, any research projects, and for applying uh, for funding opportunities and any kinds of industrial and academic partnerships. I'm open, so you can contact me, or my school is open also. So we'll be collaborative and would like to work together. So if you want, please let me know. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, please.
Thank you, Professor Bilal, for your valuable insights. Questions probably we'll take in some other session at the last. So next I welcome Mr. Kamal Sharma, Senior Vice President, Commercial, Vodafone Idea Limited, to share his perspective. So please join me in welcoming him.
Good morning to all of you. Can't hear it. All right. I come from an industry which takes away the attention of all people. I come from telecom, right? So can you please set aside your phones for the next 10 minutes or 15 minutes max, right? And be with me. Yeah, is that a promise? Can I hear it loudly? Kindly raise your one hand. Second hand. Okay. Okay. If I do that, you will have to repeat it so that I can know, because I can see some people were sleeping out here. I hope you won't sleep when I speak. I come with the experience of almost like 30 years in various parts of the industry, majority of which has been in supply chains. And for the last 15 years, I have been into an area which is on digital,
which is far more consumer facing. I handled a lot of brand transformations. And I think what I'm going to tell you, I mean, it just comes from my understanding of, it's not written, it just, there are certain points in my mind and I thought I'll just speak about it. I think that these points are very, very valuable to all of you. And if some people are smart enough, I am hopeful that you guys will make notes of it and try to implement it for the next 1 year or 2 years of whatever your career is. And take this up as a great opportunity to learn what I'm going to speak about. So point number 1, digitalization is the next thing which is happening and which is going to happen. And when I say digitalization, it is across any business. It is across any sector. And when I say business or sector, it could be core manufacturing. You must be in a mine somewhere. Do you think your digitalization will be not there? It is going to be there because there are 5G, there are IoT devices, which will be there in your mine. In the service industry, I mean, you all have an experience of apps and all that stuff. Digitalization is there. I come from Vodafone Idea Limited, and Aditya Birla Group is a big part of that entire ecosystem, and we have multiple businesses. One of the use case was that the rakes for bringing coal, right, and cement. They wanted to find out that the rakes which are provided by the Indian railways, is there a problem? Because a lot of times the rakes are damaged rakes. So how do you handle that? And it takes approximately, at a point in time, it took almost like 2 days for them to figure it out that, okay, the rake is leaking, the cement that will put in will not go waste and all that stuff. And they were sending people for maintenance and repairs and all that stuff. Almost took 2 days to do the entire exercise. For the last 2 years, they have put AI, ML, cameras, smart cameras. Do you know how much time it will take to at least inspect a rake? 24 minutes. In 24 minutes, they are able to analyze the complete rake. That yes, in rake number A, B, C, D, E, there is a problem. Immediately dispatch teams for repairs. Balance everything is fine. Start loading. So what happens? The damage cost completely comes down. Right? Take for example, ICICI Bank gold loan scheme. So for example, you come, you say, here is a bangle, I want to take a loan. Right? So the guy on the bank side, he will have to look at, okay, whether the gold is pure, impure, and all that stuff. And you can't cut the gold. You can't do any markings on the gold. Here again, they utilized AIML. What they did? They created a machine. It's an X-ray machine. And basis the reflections of the X-ray and the AIML data basis hundreds and thousands of data points. They are able to now find out that what is the percentage purity of the gold without even touching the gold. They just put it in an X-ray machine. Fantastic, isn't it? Yes. The next big thing which is happening, please mark me when 10 minutes are over. The next big thing which is happening is that CTO is the new CIO. You all know what is CTO, what is CIO, right? The position of CIO and CTO is getting completely merged together. Earlier, CTO was something which was looking at technology, external facing. CIO was more of internal processes and the hardware and the software which are being bought in the organization. No more. Today, we are talking about completely a digital economy, a cloud-based economy, an IoT-based economy. And here, these two profiles are merging in a very, very big way. And can supply chain be far behind? The answer is no. If a CTO and a CIO are speaking some jargon, forget about supply chain. Chalo, let's keep it aside for a minute. Can you guys be left behind? The answer is no. You have to understand that language. If they're saying cloud computing, you need to know what is cloud computing. If they're saying edge computing, you need to know. If they're talking neural networks, you all need to know. You might be in supply chain, you are not in supply chain. You might be in a completely irrelevant department. But if you don't know these terms, then you are living under a rock. And gentlemen, the way the industry is changing, the way the entire rate of change is happening, if you don't know these terms, then you are completely out of sync. And believe me, 5 years back, things that I did are not the things that I'm doing now. And in the next 5 years, we will also not be doing the same things. It will be absolutely very different. So please learn terms, please learn technology. If you need to attend seminars, wherever it is. I was in a Facebook seminar just a month back. I try to attend all the digital seminars wherever possible, relevant or not. I'm a mechanical engineer by profession, which I did almost like 32 years back. I'm into a content industry. I look at digital platforms now. But still, I can tell you, the world is moving so fast. The world is moving towards a gig economy. Gone are the days when you will have jobs of 15 years, 20 years continuously for years and years together. No, sorry, people will replace you. And if you are not aware on technology, which is going to become the backbone on anything, you'd be in marketing, you'd be in supply chain, specifically supply chain, because this topic is more relevant today, then you are completely out of sync with reality. How many of you, for example, know what is SEO or API or cloud computing, edge computing, artificial networks, neural networks? For people, I can see some raised hands. Excellent, excellent. I'm very happy. Some of you know about it. If you don't, please go to your professors. I would rather, Professor Sahai and all the distinguished guests out here, that in case this is not a part of your curriculum, please make it a part of your curriculum. You need to know what is happening in the technology industry. When we talk about supply chains, sometimes I feel that we all think that a supply chain is the guy who is sitting somewhere in the corner, with a desk, right? 25 ka maal 20 mein de do. Is typically what this guy does. Yes or no? But gone are those days. Absolutely not. For the last 15 years, I'm not doing that at all. And I come even from core industries. I've worked in DCM, I've worked in Ashok Leyland, I've worked in L&T. But now, gone are those days. That perceptions are over. I can tell you in my industry what is the consumer profile. I can tell you the TG. I can tell you the classifications. Why? And not only me, my entire team can tell you that. Because today, it is all consumer centric. Do you think that a guy working in Zepto will not know how the industry is moving? Do you know the guy who is working in Amazon in a warehouse doesn't know that, oh my God, Zepto, if it works, then my job, the entire Amazon is just gone for a toss. So if you don't know consumer, you be in any department, anywhere, if you don't know about your consumer, about your company's consumer, then you are gone. And I can assure you of that. Only a few years back, we were talking mainly in terms of that, okay, if you want to just go on a weekend, you'll go to a shopping mall. And then came Amazon. And now it is quick commerce. And now there are problems of ghost malls, right? If you don't know what is happening, and if you don't take course corrections, if you don't contribute, it's going to be a lot of a problem. Take driverless cars. People who have sat in those driverless cars, I have not, but people who have sat there in US and all that stuff, they're saying the experience is phenomenal. Will you try to do that again? They says yes. Are you confident? He says yes. Initially, I was uncomfortable. I'm becoming more confident. Consumers are changing. Competition can come from anywhere. Now that driverless cars are being talked about, suddenly you're talking about drone cars, right? They're trying to do it in Bangalore, starting Bangalore. They're trying to take you from one place to other place into a drone type of environment. Suddenly the consumer preferences are changing. Will it impact your industry? How can supply chain support those initiatives? And when I take this changing ecosystem basically, then what do you need to do? What are the capabilities that you need to build on yourself? Number one is, you have to be extremely aware of what is happening. And being aware is not enough. You need to know that what next step you have to take, and you have to take bold actions. How many of you have heard the story of David versus Goliath? Raise your hands. David versus Goliath. Huh? David is a small boy. Goliath is a giant. And these two people are fighting in an arena, right? And Goliath is a big giant and he has got all the power in the world. David is a small boy. And David says, okay, I will come and fight. Goliath thinks, this boy, I will crush him to death in a matter of minutes. He doesn't understand where David is coming from. Goliath believes on his brutal strength. What does David do? David says, I will use a completely new technology. And what is that technology? He uses a sling. The stones are not ordinary stones. They are barium sulfate stones. He realizes that. Barium sulfate is almost like multiple times high dense or more dense as compared to normal stones. It's almost like a projectile. And it is proven that if you take a sling, it can almost be as fast as a bullet. Small boy, new technology, change the game. And all of us know that this is what is happening in the industry today. I'll give you an example. 6 years back, we were thinking in our company, we were thinking that we will put up a very, very high technology chatbot. 6 years back, we were thinking, and IBM is my strategic outsourcing partner. IBM came and said, okay, I will work with you with Watson platform. Watson is the, yes, 10 minutes over? Yeah, sure. Watson is an excellent platform, global platform. You would have heard about this big Kasparov and the big Deep Blue competition, and then Watson works on neural networks. But how much money they wanted? They wanted several $1 million to do that chatbot project for us. Several $1 million. Here comes 2 IIT graduates, both from Delhi. They come only with one thing, which is their claim to fame, that they have worked for Dish TV with some few million subscriber base. They come, they gave a presentation. And we said, okay, why don't we try that? And we moved over to that partner, but with certain conditions. We said, guys, if you want to associate with us, then I want an equity in your company. Few lakh rupees versus few $1 million. And these guys have developed the system. These guys have proven themselves. And for the last 6.5 or 7 years, their chatbot is running with us across all platforms. And these guys have won an award 2 years back, I think 2021 or 2022. They won an award, a global award, in which people like Google, IBM, and all that stuff, and it was a global award. So you have to take risks. During my times, there was no startups and all that stuff. There are people like you. And when I heard Professor Sai saying that, okay, you guys have an entrepreneurship development program. And I can bet maybe some of you, or lot of you, will be very, very keen to do a startup. Yes. Yes. We will do it. Come to me when you start, and maybe I'll give you a chance. You guys can change the game. And therefore, you need to be aware of what is happening. When I'm talking about this, did I not take a risk? The answer is yes. I took a risk. I stood in the boardroom and said, well, if it doesn't happen, my neck is on the block. But then at the same time, we also need to protect risk. Supply chains or businesses, we also need to protect our risks. And I am spending more and more time in terms of new business models. How many of you have a WhatsApp business account? Some of you have. For marketing. Oh my God. It's a WhatsApp business account is for sending promotional SMS or promotional messages, not SMS, messages. But their commercial model is so complex. You can make a message. If the message is getting responded within 24 hours, no charge. If you put a service message, then the charge goes up. If you put an OTP, the charge further goes up. If you do this, then it will happen. Simple thing, they have complicated. But it's not complication. It is business modeling. Mark Zuckerberg realized around few years back, and this is basically from people who have worked, my friends who have worked in Meta. He realized there will be a threshold that Facebook is going to stabilize. And then he took over Insta. And then he realized, oh my God, no, even this is not right. Let's acquire WhatsApp. WhatsApp today is a tool. It's a very, very important tool in this domain and in this area, wherein it is now giving competition to Google for ads. It is going to become the best engagement platform. So it is directly competing with Google. Do you know metro tickets? Who's the biggest seller? WhatsApp. Right? So when not only from supply chain perspective, and I spend a lot of time in terms of managing risk, looking at business models, and specifically those business models, specifically in the service sector, wherein you were saying that the rate of change of technology is extremely fast. Look at revenue share models. Look at business models which are mitigating your risk to a very large extent. And that's what we do for a very, very long time. Last 3 points, maybe 1 or 2 minutes more. Sorry, if with your kind permission. Another area which all of you, irrespective, that you have to do, and specifically people like us in supply chains, is IP. IP stands for intellectual properties. Today we don't bother too much, but we should. And it is becoming more and more important. Extremely important. You take music, for example. Music is a very high-end intellectual property concept. Not only, and especially for your budding entrepreneurs which are trying to, do some startups and all that stuff, you should know how to patent your invention or your concept. I remember around 6-7 years back, we thought, okay, we will try to have a model of consumer acquisition on through SMS channels and all that stuff. So we started working with a small company from Kerala. We said, okay, let's try to do that. So we innovated, we tried to do that. We gave the models, we were discussing, and the model was very successful. And after 2-3 years, we said, okay, guys, we are not very happy with your performance. We would like to go with somebody else. He said, sorry, you can't go. I patented it. So what this guy did, he took a patent of the product that were co-developed. And we had all the documents. And when my legal team sort of said, guy, you can't patent it on your own. And if you go to court, I'm more than happy to, fight it out. Then he backed off. IP is becoming very important. How many of you have read the patent laws and the IP acts? If you have not, oh, I'm so happy. Very, very important. There are extremely good courses. There is extremely good course in Coursera, for example, on the US Patent Act and how these people look at it. And Indian Patent Act is very, very similar as per my understanding. Look at this as a very important stuff. The next big thing is regulation. All of us, and as Professor Sahai said very recently, that India is going to become a third largest economy. So the volumes are becoming very, very important. So are the regulators. Regulators are people like you, some of people like you sitting out here, you guys are going and becoming government officials. You guys know technology. You guys probably know technology even probably better than what the other guys do. And these guys are becoming regulators. Regulators are very, very important. Look what happened to Paytm. Right? One slip, gone. Companies can die. My own company. I mean, some people, I don't want to speak about it more, but regulation is very important. What is the next big regulation which is happening? What are you doing? This is Web 2.0. What are we doing? The biggest thing on Web 2.0 is you are sharing all your data, right? Or across all platforms, correct? But now the government has come with an act, which is known as the DPDP Act, Digital Digital Personal Data Protection Act. And Digital Personal Data Protection Act throws a lot of onus on people who have your data. Banks, for example, telecom companies, for example, IT companies, for example, all these platforms, for example. And if you don't adhere, well, the business can shut down because the penalties can range in a few lakh rupees to a few hundreds of crores of rupees, hundreds and crores of rupees, and you don't want that. So DPDP Act is another thing, or regulation is rather another thing that you need to be extremely sure of. And I would like to close with one last thing. You all guys are very young, and I'm also young. Look at mentors, right? Be healthy. Look at mentors, and mentors could be professional, personal, your spiritual mentors, health, for example. Look at a holistic development. Look at mentorships. Even I have a mentor. I have a mentor who, when he's like my sounding board. If I have to take a decision and I need to consult, he will give me the right thing. He will not give me a solution. He will give me a guidance, which is, and I have to own that decision. So look at mentors, look at the life as a overall holistic process or a journey. And I think these are the things which will take you forward. My best wishes, and I'm really happy and proud. Sometimes I'm also feeling a little dejected. I'm sitting in such an august company of all professors and doctors and such eminent people. But thank you for inviting me. And I'm sure you guys will rise and shine, and all the best.
Thank you, Mr. Sharma, for your enriching thoughts and practical observations. So you are such a nice speaker that it was hard for us to interrupt you in between. And but because of short of time, we have to do it, right? Yes, Upkar.
With the formal inauguration behind us, it is now time to dive into our keynote addresses. We have two amazing professors here from two great institutes of our country. One is IIM Ahmedabad and one is from IIT Delhi. So first, I welcome Professor Devjit Roy, Institute Chair Professor in the Operations and Decision Sciences area at the Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad. Professor Roy will enlighten us with his expertise in this evolving field. So please welcome him with your applause.
All right. Am I audible? Yes. All right. Good afternoon. I'm Jammu. How are you guys doing? Great. I was just feeling so jealous yesterday. What a beautiful campus you're in. I didn't get an opportunity to study here, right? So I think I was also asking a lot of you, how do you manage to study? It is such a difficult job to study in such a beautiful hill station. And I think all credit goes to faculty and the director, sir here, for making such a beautiful campus for the generations to come. So thank you so much for making this for the nation. And particularly today, I'm very fortunate for this kind invite. This also makes me to come to IIM Jammu. especially all the conference organizers, Pratik, Praveen, Professor Sahai, for giving this opportunity to visit this beautiful campus. So what I'm going to do in the next 30 minutes or so is going to talk about digitizing e-commerce order fulfillment processes. I'm sure we all indulge in e-commerce, right? I'm sure you all have done that plenty of times during this COVID times, or maybe even now the generation continues, right? So we'll talk a bit about the technology and some of the models, and particularly some of the research areas. So I know there are a lot of PGP students here. So I'm sure this will appeal to all of you, to not only from operation standpoint, but also how do you connect technology with data and models, okay? So with that, we'll get started. So let me see, is it, okay. So am I able to control it or? No, okay. All right, the agenda for this next 30 minutes is that I will talk a bit about the e-customer expectations, very, very different. We'll talk about some of the technology advancements in the e-commerce, and specifically I will highlight 3 research problems and their modeling constructs, and then conclude with some future work, yeah? So that's the agenda for the next 30 minutes or so. So if we talk in general about e-commerce, okay. But why do we see this line over here? Let me see if I can move this a bit here. It doesn't go? Okay, it went away. So if we talk in general about retail channels, it was not very far. We were always in the brick and mortar era, right? Even 10 years back, we were quite a bit in brick and mortar, but now you have moved to e-commerce, where you just, while sleeping, just press a button, order your product, and by morning it's already dispatched to you, right? So what you see there, the effort cost or the setup cost is hardly anything. And as a result, you always order in units of 1, right? Always you order 1 unit from e-commerce, whereas you do a lot more purchase from the supermarkets or so. But however, the things have changed now. We are giving a lot of flexibility, particularly you can think about omni-channel. I'm sure you're in the omni-channel world, where you can order from online and you can take it from the store, or you can go to your store, make your purchase, and it will be delivered to your home. So there are different channels that you can interact with, right? And that makes a huge difference in how we are trading in the current world. I'll talk particularly about this because this has a huge kind of relevance in terms of the warehousing as well. So is there a lag here? Is there a lag in this one? I'd point to this one. Okay, great. So you talk about in general the e-commerce sales worldwide. I think that is a very, very significant trend. So this tells that pretty much as you are right now in 2024, even as you go forward, this market is expanding. So I think this is here to stay and grow, right? So e-commerce is definitely here to stay here. So if we look forward into e-commerce order fulfillment processes, I'm sure you'll know that when you order, your order hits one of the closest fulfillment center from where it is picked, packed, and dispatched, right? So if you look into some of the things, do you see anything in this picture that really worries you? Anything that really worries you in this picture? It's colossal. It's like 8 football fields. You have to walk really long, right? So these warehouses are quite deep and quite fatiguing in nature if you try to work in these warehouses. So if you look into this a bit about the processes, okay, so I think you're able to see, right? Okay. So you can think about all the people working in this particular warehouses. These are some of the pictures that say that they have to really carry the roll cages and walk through the aisles, very, very fatiguing. If you go further a bit more, so if you think about e-commerce order fulfillment, again, there are some people who finally put them in the products and package it. And finally, it is sent to a conveyor belt, the whole thing for final boxing. And finally, from here, it will go to, you can see here, packages are done. And from there, it will go to the final place from where it is shipping. So all the boxes now are ready to be shipped. And from this, your package is taken and delivered to you, right? So you can see a process that quite cumbersome if you think on the back end. So why we're talking about this is because humans have a huge role to play here. So let us spend the next 5 minutes talking about how did the customers and the workers evolve in this particular era, right? What are the changes did you see so far? So we talk about customers in general in the e-commerce or the workers. The first thing is that if you see the evolution, early on, it was pretty much a single item. Think about your early days of e-commerce, maybe 5 years back. Maybe you ordered only a single item, right? But as and as you see more going forward, the orders are getting more and more multi-lines. So you can see here, earlier you ordered only one item, whereas now it is more than one item, maybe a t-shirt and maybe a book, so you're ordering more than one. Why I'm talking about this is because if you see, this is from a real e-commerce customer, the earlier proportion of the single line items were very high, 95% or so. But as we go more and more in the future, you will see that we'll have many multi-line items, right? So the same warehouse who was earlier fulfilling single line items have to also fulfill now multi-line items. Again, this becomes much more cumbersome from the warehousing standpoint. So if you go further, you can think about groceries. If you order from Blinkit or Zepto, any of the grocery items, you can see here, some of the items are having, some of the orders have 5 line items. Some also have 50 line items. So it can be hugely complex. Can you guess, in the case of Blinkit or Zepto, what is the average time it takes to pick your order before it is delivered? Any guesses? The overall time may be 8 minutes, right? So what is the time typically it takes? 2 minutes, 70 seconds on average. Okay, so it's extremely fast. So you can think about the backend thing that's going on to ensure that once you get your order, how rapidly you can pick the items and you can dispatch it. In fact, in most of the Zepto and Blinkit, the order, in that case, the picker waits for the order and not the order waits for the picker, right? So it's extremely fast. So some of the other parts of the characteristics, if you go further, you can see here there's a huge volatility in customer orders. My friend out there, you're sleep deprived. My friend out there, you're really sleep deprived. Are you doing okay? Yeah, okay. So if you talk about in general the custom orders, it is that is a hugely large volatile, right? So what is important and why do you talk about volatility is because think about it. If your Diwali gifts comes after your Diwali or your Christmas gifts come after your Christmas, what is going to happen? Are you going to be happy? No, but they're really doing good for all your orders for the whole year. Just one order they slipped, right? So what is the message out here? The message out here is that when the demand is high, it's a peak, the service levels matter even more. Even though you perform throughout the year, you're still at a very high risk if in that particular case, you're not able to serve during the Christmas time, which means how do you plan our operations? Are we planning for the average or for the peak times? As I mentioned, the service levels matter even more during the peak times, right? So it does matter. So if you go further from here, some of the characteristics that you see, these are tales of struggle and aspirations of the Indian workers, right? Let us read out some of the highlighted part of here. This is from 16 July and from one of the Amazon warehouses from India. Okay, so if you read a bit further, what you see here is that, yeah, Nisha found herself immersed in one of the most demanding and physically taxing roles in the facility. It doesn't end over there. It tells that the job required for her to locate and retrieve specific packages from various stacks across the warehouses, which meant that tirelessly working on her feet, continuously walking for 9 hours. Think about the fatigue involved. Okay, extremely fatiguing. You can see here, she says further, I travel almost 25 to 30 kilometers per day. You can start from here and reach Vaishno Devi also. And you do that every day, right? That is really, really mentally fatiguing. Not just that, a very recent article again comes up saying that Priyanka says she typically have to move and store 150 items an hour for 10 hours a day. Okay, so it's mentally quite fatiguing, physically quite fatiguing job we're talking about here. But nevertheless, these are some of the aspirations of the customer. And if you talk about some of the customer expectation survey. I just recently gathered this. What do you see here? We're talking about what do the customers expect from the online e-commerce. You can see here, this data is from Gen Z and millennials. I Googled, I belong to neither of them, right? You're probably in this category. So what it tells us that you're really looking for free and same day delivery. So you want fast delivery, but you do not want to pay for it, right? So we talk about in general, the consumers, what are they asking for? Three things: fast, free, and flexible, right? These are the three Fs that really matter in the e-commerce today, right? The three Fs: fast, free, and flexible. So if you go further and you ask yourself, what are the consumers looking forward to? Well, one is definitely speed. Speed matters. But also what matters is you don't want to pay for it, so cost matters. Quality matters. Flexibility matters because you want the speed even during the peak times. So flexible demand also you have to cater to. Safety matters, and you solve the tails and aspirations. You have to deliver it even responsibly, right? So these are what we call the order winners or the KPIs of the customers. The customers are really kind of striving for these requirements. So in a nutshell, what you really see here is that there's a trade-off here. You want responsiveness, but you do not want to pay for it, right? There's so many dimensions that you're really competing on in the case of e-commerce. So that will give you expectations about now the backend. How do you want to deliver and design your operations to deliver these expectations, right? Because the customers are asking multiple things out here. So if you think about the e-commerce supply chain, and let us see how it is geared towards speed and all the dimensions that you saw so far. So you can think here, you start off with the fulfillment center or the marketplace sellers. It goes to the mother hub where it is sorted for you. From there, it goes to the different places like logistics network, destination hub. From the destination hub, it goes further to line haul, delivery hubs, and finally it is delivered to you. So this is what is called the forward process. But does the e-commerce end here? Is it only the forward? No. You also have the backend return process as well, right? So what you have is beyond it, what you saw just now is only the forward, but what you also have is the return processes like, let me see. So you can see all the red arrows that shows what the backend processes are, right? But what I want to talk here is that if we talk about the overall fulfillment time, which could be a day or half, right? But if you see about it, it has three components: the first mile, middle mile, and the last mile. Okay, middle mile is where the maximum transport happens in a trucking or whatever. But if you see here, the order fulfillment time has different components to it. So if you have to deliver it within the same day, what do you think has to perform? The first mile, middle mile, or the last mile? All of them, right? You cannot exclude just the first mile or the last mile or the middle mile. So what it tells us that if you have a very strong expectation from the consumer standpoint, all the components of the e-commerce supply chain has to perform. Okay, you cannot really exclude any of them. So all fulfillment processes contribute to customer experience. If you zoom into one of the fulfillment center, what you see here is you have the fulfillment center, and then maybe within that, you first start for waiting for a tote from a storage system, then the totes are retrieved. I hope you understand what are totes. This is what you see in the airports and security checks, where you keep your laptop, your vanity bag, and all of that. So that's the totes from where the items are kept. Then it waits for the picker, items are picked, and they're consolidated. So which of the processes matter for the overall performance? Is it only the picker, the item pick, consolidation? All of them, right? So what we're saying is that you just cannot be complacent in one of the processes. All of them have to really perform to the best Six Sigma levels for the overall supply chain of e-commerce to perform. Okay, speed is paramount, and so is cost, and so is sustainability, so is responsibility. Right? So let us, with these, what the message here is that when you look about e-commerce, you have to think about an integrated analysis. So analyzing subsystems in isolation will not do the job here, right? So you have to analyze all the processes in together. So more important, what it tells you is that even if they perform really well throughout the whole year, it doesn't matter. Long tails matter here, right? So you have to look at the long tail and not just the average performance. That doesn't do the cut here. So you have to look at the long tail, the whole distribution. What it tells you is that just the average doesn't do the good. You have to take care of the higher moments of the time, which is also the variance part of it. So both the mean and the variance matters and not just the average performance. On average, you may be good, but that doesn't tell you anything, right? So you have to look at the long tails, and that matters over here. So with this background, I think we can move on to the next part of the talk, which is all about learning so far, which is, let me recap that a bit. One is what we learned so far. I hope you all got the same message that I want to give. First is that variability of each node in the supply chain matters, right? It's not just the mean, but the variance works too. The second thing is that we need to look at integrated analysis of the whole supply chain to manage speed. There's not just subsystems in isolation. The third thing is digitization has a role to play here in not just improving the mean, but also working with the variance part of it. So digitization is all about the variance, not the first moment. It's the higher moments, right? So if you're in statistics, digitization has a role to play in the higher moments of time and not the first mean part of it. So with that, I think we conclude the first part of it. Let us look a bit about how is the technology and automation helping humans cope up? Okay, so what we learned so far, a lot of challenges, human beings are suffering, but customers want the speed and cost, everything. So how can digitization play a role here? So let us spend some time talking a bit about the digitization world. So this is what is called the traditional warehouse management system, has been there for 50 odd years. What do they try to do? They try to automate some of the tasks. Think about warehouse picking. Earlier, it was all paper-based. Now it is software-driven. And this has been there for decades now, right? Where you have automated scanners and you can pick the items and you can put them. So this has been there. So we talk about what are some of the nice things that these are doing. Any ideas, some of the key things? Well, if you think about some nice things about here, the traditional warehouse system, it is ensuring the optimal picker travel path. So it does help to reduce the travel time with the picker, does help in reducing the fatigue levels. It does, right? It also helps to ensure the correct putaways so that you're putting the item in the right place. Remember when you used to not get a product at your home, your parents kept on telling you, if you kept it in the right place, you would have got it. Right? So putaway matters. If your putaway is good, your picking is also good, right? So this helps you to ensure the correct putaway, the item picks, but unfortunately, the human fatigue address is not addressed over here. People are still walking quite a bit, right? So this is the digitization aspect. I'm going to spend the next, whatever time I have, maybe 15 minutes or so, on the digitization aspect of the whole processes now. So if you talk about, in terms of automation, the pillars supporting the 3 Fs. What are the 3 Fs? Free, fast, and flexible, right? These are 3 Fs we're talking about. So if we talk about the pillars supporting the 3 Fs, you will see a lot of interest in, of course, blockchain and AI is there, but robotics and automation is one of the biggest part of it, right? So we have to really think about how can we support the 3 Fs using the robotics and automation piece of it. So let us dive deep into the robotics and automation piece. Let me see if I can. So if you talk about automation now, so we are shifting gears now from the e-commerce to what is the automation at e-commerce, okay? So if you look at these particular technology, this has been there again for decades. During the World War II also we had this, which is called the traditional ASRS systems, automated storage and retrieval systems. They're very similar to the soda dispenser machines, right? We put a card, a coin, and the dispenser goes to pick up your product and dispenses out, very, very similar. Okay, these are soda dispenser machines, and miniature ASRS kind of things. Do you see any problem with this kind of setup? That is one key problem out here. The problem is that once you know the speed of the cranes within the aisle, you pretty much know the max capacities, right? So they're not flexible. While they're fast, they have an upper bound threshold on their capacity, right? So it is not a flexible setup that you have over here. So to overcome that, we have to, what do you think? If you think about provider challenges, customer requirements, what we need of the hour is your flexible DCs. So how do you design flexible DCs is what we'll talk about, right? So if you go further, this is interesting. In about 2011, I think it was the IIT Delhi startup itself, which was called the Kiva. Earlier it was called the Gray Orange. They have introduced the Butler system. Likewise, in the US, you had the Kiva systems. And in Germany, you had the Swisslog. What they do is that instead of picker going to the product, let the product comes to the picker. Okay, address the fatigue part of it, right? Because now the pickers are stationary at one location, and you have these pods that goes to the robots that brings the pod directly to the pick stations. And pickers are quite productive. They don't have to do anything. They have to just stand at a particular location and move forward. So you can think about the influence. We have more than 4 million robots in warehouses in 2023, and Amazon owns 750,000 of them. Okay, so Amazon is one of the leaders in this warehouse automation. So if you see about how does it go, these are drive units. They're very sturdy. They can handle these pods, and they can bring the cartons, totes, or pallets right to the pick station. So very, very smart device is what you have here. Do you see any challenge with this system? What did we solve here? We solved the fatigue part. Why? Because now the robots go and bring those pods to the picker. We solved that piece. But there is a challenge with this. The challenge with this is very expensive. You need in a warehouse very small, you need thousands of robots. Each robot costs about $30 grand. So it's very, very expensive, right? So all we are saying is that how do you really mitigate costs now? Because consumers want also free deliveries. So to manage that kind of a challenge over there, what we're talking is on one side, you have completely manual system, which are very good in terms of flexibility, but very low throughput, very fatiguing. On the other hand, you have automated systems, which is very high throughput, but it requires too many robots. Can we bring the best of both worlds together? And that's where we are going towards human-robot collaborative systems. What do you think humans are really good at? What do you think you're really good at? Intelligence, right? You know exactly how do you handle a product. How do you hold a bottle? You will not squeeze it too much, right? So you know how to pick an item in a most efficient manner. What any robots are really good at? Doing the mundane task, right? So let all the mundane tasks done with the robot, and let pickers do the intelligent task. Okay, that's the opportunity that we bring together, what is called the collaborative picking systems, where you have the human-robot collaboration in general. So is it going to? Is it stuck? I think it is stuck. Okay, so all we are saying is that we want to get into collaborative systems where you are taking the best of world of both the pickers and the robots together. So how does it work? Look at this video of Locus Robotics that developed this robotic system. So you can see here, yeah, the pickers are just waiting for a robot. Once the robot comes, the pickers just help to pick the items and put it in the robot. So you can see here, this is extremely flexible system. You can do the whole picking operations. You can increase the throughput by 300% or so with very little cost, right? So what did you do? You have robots, but you also have pickers, right? And pickers are just assisting the robots to fulfill their task. Pickers are not walking too much. You're saving a lot of time, and you can get the things done. So I think the learning so far is there's a significant evolution of warehouse processes. In the storage, you had the manual from fixed to flexible. In terms of order pick, manual to fixed to flexible. In terms of sortation as well, we have manual to fixed to flexible. So what it tells you is that as the consumer requirements changed over time, the technology also adapted with the customer expectations, right? So as we need more flexible solutions, we also found more of flexible technologies to match that up. So how much time do I have? 10 minutes more? Fantastic. So next 10 minutes, I'm going to talk about 3 of the research problems. And specifically, I'm talking about how new technologies often use data and how can some of the models help to analyze some of these problems? Okay, so let us talk about one of the first paper that we wrote. So you can see here, there's some of the references for some of the researchers who are out there. So 1980s was all about travel time estimation processes. 2000 onwards, we focused more on isolated performance. What is isolated? Just focus on one particular process and improve it, right? But as you saw that, if you have to give the performance to the consumers, you need to look at whole integrated systems and not subsystems in isolation. So 2015 part was all about integrated performance. And now we have moved to an area of dynamic control where we are talking all about real-time decision-making, right? So we have to move away from the world of reactive to more proactive, from offline to more online, from static to more dynamic. That's where the world is getting towards, right? So I'll talk about 3 problems, one in the integrated, 2 in the integrated, and 1 in dynamic control. Okay, so that's what I'm going to talk in the next 10 minutes, and we will take it from there. So when I talk about these models, the first one, don't focus too much on insights, just get inspired with the technology and how can you model it, okay? And I will talk about one on integrated storage and order picking for multi-line orders, one on the robotized sortation, the other on how do you link design and control strategies for robotized systems, okay, 3 of them. So the first one is a paper on modeling multi-line orders and integrated storage order pick systems. This is a published paper in Naval Research Logistics in 2021. And the theme is that how do you connect subsystems to develop integrated models? Okay, that was this paper all about. So what do we try to do here? So in this particular case, you have an upstream where you have a storage system where you have shuttles, which through a conveyor, these are the shuttles that are bringing the totes, and they bring it to a pick station where the picker is stationary. Very ergonomic system. Why? Because the pickers can stand at one place. You can adjust the heights as well. So it's not very stressful. You can really do high productivity out there. So in this particular system, how we modeled it, it is very high cost, of course, but it higher throughput flexibility. It reduces the fulfillment times, and it also gets you better ergonomic pick capabilities. All right. So how does it work? So you can see here, upstream, you have the storage, downstream, you have multiple pick stations, and you integrate them with the conveyor, which is a central. So you can look at the animation out there. There's the incoming order. The order goes to the pick station. Then you have, that becomes an active order. Then you have a tote that is being retrieved from the red one you can see, hopefully, that is a retrieved tote from the upstream. And that is now brought to the pick station using the conveyors. Once it is retrieved, it becomes a yellow tote. Oops. I think it was just ahead of time. Okay, so once it is retrieved, it is going back. I'll try to push it that. You can see here, it just goes and it is finally order is completed. So this is the whole operations of the upstream and the downstream that you see here, right? So how do we try to model it? Very, very straightforward. What happens is that orders arrive and they wait for a resource to get matched. Think about it. When you go to a gym, a lot of students go, but you have finite treadmills or whatever, right? So all are waiting for some resources. So if a treadmill is free and there is a student waiting, of course they get matched. It never happens, treadmill is free and the student is waiting. That's the principle behind it, right? So you have the orders arriving and you have the resources, they get matched together and you process the whole order, the multi-line order over here. So you can see here orders arrive and yeah, there is a customer, there are the tokens that are released, the buffers, they are matched, the totes are retrieved from the upstream. And once the totes are retrieved, they go to downstream pick stations. And finally, the order is picked and the tote is sent back and the item is picked, packed, and shipped out. Right? That's the kind of model that we developed. Very, very compact, and it kind of analyzes the whole performance extremely well. So we had a very nice, elegant model where we try to estimate the throughput, both the upstream, downstream, and then we try to integrate that using a very sophisticated method, which is called the matrix geometric method. I'll not go into details, but we have a lot of literature to look into that. So these are the models from the upstream, where you can see here, every tier, the totes are retrieved, and the circles that you see here are your shuttles. The shuttles bring those totes and to the conveyor belt. And you can see here the shuttles are modeled, the elevators are modeled. And you can see here, we try to integrate the model into multiple tiers now. So this is like a closed system that you have over here. So you model each of the aisles of the whole warehouse. And the inspiration of this model comes from the assembly line models. Think about it. You have same Samsung making also products for other brands as well, right? And you're differentiating products. Some are common items, some are different items. Maybe the only difference between Moto G9 and Moto G10 is only one of the chips. The rest are all common. So similar models have been done also for assembly line before. Okay, so we take the inspiration from such assembly line models and we use it in our warehousing settings. I'm just showing you one of the insights. There are a lot many insights that you can generate. For example, such systems, such models can help us to understand the impact of the demand on the requirement of the system. So what it tells you is that in this particular case, you're looking at a demand of 45, 55, 65, and 75, and it tells you what should be the number of active orders to minimize the throughput times. Likewise, this tells you how do you control your upstream? How many aisles do you want to have? What this tells you is, look at this orange line over here. It tells you only have one aisle in the whole system for your storage warehouse. And it tells you if your demand is very high, your throughput time is going to be very, very high and not going to meet the customer expectations. So it also helps you to design, to conceptualize the design for your warehouse. How many aisles should you have, right? So that this is one of the insights, but there are many others that you can generate from here. The second work is analyzing the integrated robotized sortation systems. This is technology developed by Adverb. Have you heard about Adverb? It's an automation company which is recently acquired by Reliance. Okay, so it is a Reliance wing of automation, which is Adverb. And I'll just tell you how the system works. what do you see in this video? Hardly any people, right? The people were only doing the packaging. The entire thing was integrated, completely robotized, right from inception till the whole dispatch, right? So in these cases also, what do you think, what matters? Well, how do you can reduce both the mean and the variance of the entire fulfillment times? So even for this case, what the challenge is that you had different things, like you had the induction, AGV travel, batching, shuttle pickup and drop off. You also had downstream, like the travel, the packaging, zonal sorting, the final batching. So what we did is we developed an integrated model. This is the first time that we were able to develop an integrated model for the whole robotized sortation system, right from entry till the whole exit. Why this is nice? Because this captures the variations in your batch sizes throughout the process. Did you see that? Initially it was 1, then it was accumulating 2, 3. So the batch sizes were kind of changing over time. So you can see here, as we go downstream, the batch sizes kind of increases. So this model actually captures the differential batch sizes across the whole system, right? And what we get from here is the whole performance. In this case, we also have a very detailed simulation model that we developed to validate our model. And the results say that our models were quite accurate, right? We can actually simulate the whole system and you can show the whole performance of such systems. So if you go further, we can also get the whole throughput and distribution of the entire process. Not just that, we can also see how is the distribution behaving and what are the long tails. So you can see here, just to estimate the whole variance, we have to really work hard, right? You have to get the whole distribution, model all the processes accurately, and check whether the distribution fits quite a bit. And those who are studying statistics, you'll realize this is a log normal distribution, right? It has a long tail, looks like a normal, but a log normal kind of thing. So it also gives us very detailed, breakups of the whole time. Why this is useful? Because it tells us where a delay is happening, where we should be focusing, right? This is the nice part of it. The third paper that I want to talk about is how many minutes? 5 minutes more or 2 minutes? No, you should tell me. You're the 5 minutes max? Okay, so let me take 3 minutes to talk about the final work, which is talking about dynamic robot routing and destination assignment policies for robotic sorting systems. And here, we'll not only talk about integrated model, but we'll talk about dynamic control now. Remember the phases? Travel time, isolated, integrated, and dynamic control. So now we are moving to the last piece, which is dynamic control. So what we are trying to do here, let me first inspire you with a video of the system.
Hello everyone, I'm a sorting robot. I know I look cute, but my skills are a lot more impressive. I can identify the information on each of the parcels effectively and sort them out precisely. My friends and I can process as many as 18,000 parcels in an hour.
This is a 1.3 square kilometer transit warehouse. The use of sorting robots improves efficiency, accuracy, and security during the sorting process, and also reduces manual labor costs by an astonishing 70%. This AI and logistics model is now revolutionizing the express delivery industry across the country. Between 2012 and 2016, online retail sales in China skyrocketed from 1.3 trillion to 5.2 trillion yuan, making the country the world's largest online retailer. With a flourishing development of online shopping, the express business is also booming. There are now around 8,000 express delivery companies in China and more than 2 million people working in the logistics industry. Last year, more than 31.28 billion parcels were delivered in the country, accounting for 40% of the world's total. Revenue from the express business has reached 400 billion yuan, while the per capita usage in China was approximately 23 deliveries per year. With the recent rise of AI and big data, the concept of smart logistics has been put into service. Drones and unmanned vehicles are delivering items faster than ever before as China's logistics sector prepares to enter the smart era.
All right, so I think you get an idea about the whole robotics sortation system. What is interesting here is that the demand is extremely volatile, okay? And you have to think about how do you maximize the capacity. So what are the decision variables? If you saw in the video, well, which robot should do which task? Which robot should be assigned to which zone? How do you minimize congestion in a zone? All of these are interesting questions. So what we do is that in this particular paper, we try to develop more a queuing model, but also looking at dynamic control on the robot routing. What we show in this paper is that with better routing strategy, you do not need to even change your bin sizes, nothing, right? Just what you need is optimize the routing probabilities. So we also try to do a mixed integer program, but we show that is not really required. All you have to do is better routing. And what we need is a dynamic routing strategy. So we had a queuing model, which kind of feeds into the Markov decision processes. And you can see here, very similar strategy. The jobs arrive, wait for a robot, and the robot goes to a particular zone, unloads it at destination point, and comes back to do another task. Okay, so I'll not go into details, but we can model in this particular case, the entire strategy. In this case, the state space is what is the optimal probabilities of routing of the robots. I think from all the three papers that I discussed, I think what is clear is there is some modeling constraints, and what we're trying to achieve is both the mean and the variance of the throughput times. And it goes back to my first slide for the customer, fast, free, and there was no washing machines, and it's to dry clothes, it's to squeeze out the last drop of water before drying them. So how do you utilize the resources in the best possible way? That's really what we're trying to do in these cases. So if you want to read further on the human part of it, we had a HBR article recently where we talk about automation, but with the human touch, right? The humans are not going to go away. How is automation helping to make or enriching the jobs of the humans? It matters, right? So the robots are not going to take the jobs. They're only going to make the job of the humans even more richer. But at the same case, when you have automation, involve people early, include their choices in the decision-making process. It matters. Okay, that's what we actually argue in this particular paper as well. So to sum up, I think all we are saying is that in end game, employees will benefit, the providers will benefit, right? And the customers will benefit too. So all we are saying is that the purpose of the robots, the digitization, the automation is to enrich the job of the pickers. We're not going to here to take away the jobs, but to enrich the jobs. So all we're trying to make is the warehouse enriching, safer, productive, accountable, creative, and flexible. Right? This is the idea and the overarching theme of any particular warehousing automation. So to conclude it, I think all we are saying is e-commerce fulfillment needs human solutions, right? Because we have to take care of the fatigue. We have to make them productive as well. How do you balance these two extremes? It matters. Digitization plays a significant role, but I think the models that we talk are very powerful tools that can analyze the system, understand the trade-offs, conceptualize the system, evaluate technology, and optimize performance. And use models to understand the effect of choice of the human beings. Bring the human element in your models as well. Okay, it matters not just the technology, but the human matters as well. That's all what I have to talk to you in the last 30 minutes. So thank you so much for being so patient. And yeah, it was fascinating to come to IIM Jammu. Thank you so much. Thank you. Please, it's all yours.
Indeed, the whole is greater than sum of its part. When all automated processes work together, the result is greater efficiency and a good consumer experience. With this, I would like to thank Professor Roy for such an insightful session. Next, we invite Professor S.P. Singh Dhananjay, Chair Professor in the Department of Management Studies in Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi. Professor Singh will now take the stage to deliver his keynote address. Thank you.
Yeah. Seven, 130, 130. Yeah, yeah. Yes, yeah. So, good morning. Say good morning. Good morning. Okay. So thank you, Devjit and Kamal Kishore ji, so for a wonderful session. I will not make a very mathematical, though it is a mathematical at the background. We'll try to make it little bit mathematical so that you can link with your problem. Okay. So before that, I thanks Professor Sahai, Professor Rameshwar Dubey, and Professor Pratik for inviting me this a keynote speech or this particular conference, which is on next generation supply chain management. Okay, so what is next generation? We will see. But in the present, for present generation, the supply chain need to be understood very well, and how the supply chain has been done in the past, and how it is being done in the present, and why we are talking for the next generation. So that is very important. Okay, so. Okay. Oh, sorry. So I have to be here. I can't move. Okay. So this is typically how the supply chains actually look like. Whether you talk about services supply chain, whether you talk about manufacturing supply chain. In the services part, we can't see much, but in the manufacturing supply chain, we can feel, we can see. Okay. So this is how you can see the supply chains. Generally, a very generic form of the supply chain, manufacturing supply chain. To produce any goods, you need to procure raw material. And once you have produced, you need to ship it to the right place. Okay, so that is what the supply chain generally is regarded as. So basically, if you have to define, so it's basically to produce the right quantity of the item in the right time, to procure right material, and to ship it to the right place for the right customer in the right time. Okay, everything should be right. So there is no scope of wrong thing. Okay, and we also know that there is a lot of metrics in the supply chain which try to measure what is the performance of your supply chain, whether the performance supply chain is right, not right, good, poor, whatever. Okay, so we have some kind of measures which we try to measure it. Okay, now I'm trying to link with the conference, which is very timely conference. There was one theme, it's collaborative suppliers. You cannot have a supply chain without the suppliers. Whether you like, dislike, you don't want to work with a supplier, your suppliers are not very good. You are frustrated with your vendors, but you can't do anything. Because you cannot do in-house all the things, and you cannot procure, produce, and consume. You need suppliers and you need the vendors. And because of this, I think around 30 years back, maybe more than that, people realized, those who work in the supply chain. Okay, before that, when this supply chain was actually coined? Any idea, anybody? Who has given the term supply chain?
Any idea? It's not general knowledge, it's just who has given, I know who has given. But what do you think? Ford company, okay. In which year? Year might be right, but not a Ford company. No manufacturing firm has given the supply chain. Okay, it was basically it was an accountant. He was an accountant working in some consulting firm at the US, and it's one of the interview, Boost Consulting Company. With the times he has given the term supply chain. In 1980s, possibly maybe 81, 82, you are right. Before that, it was human supply chain. Before BCs, human we supplied from the African continent to some other continent for the work. At that point of time, it was supply chain, but now the supply chain which we are talking about, mostly non-human supply chain. Basically, we are trying to deliver the product or services. Okay, so at this particular time, he has given the term supply chain. It was realized, I think, few years later, and then many corporate sectors, they started having, instead of having a operations manager or decision maker, they started having a portfolio of supply chain manager, global supply chain, maybe local supply chain, whatever you can say it. Okay, so not very good. So after this, they started thinking about what is the role of supply in the supply chain management. Really, does supplier make any role or do not make any role? What do you think? Is there any role of supply in the supply chain, or they are just simply, they got the job, they have to deliver it, that's all? So what Professor Devajit said, 3F, fast, flexible, and free. And the fourth could be frustration. If you don't have the right supplier for working with you. So we have 3 C's in supply chain: collaborative, cooperative, and then what is 3 C's in supply chain? Okay, so it is food for thought. Okay, so suppliers has any role or not? Kya lagta hai aapko? Or just definitely they have given the task, so they have to fulfill. Do you see the supplier has any role? Yes or no? What role? Only raw materials fulfillment, that's the role. No. Quality, credit, flexibility, safety, what? So they have all the roles. Okay, yes. Okay, so supplier has a big role. Without supplier, whether it's a tier 1 company or whatever the kind of supplier you have, if you do not have a good network of suppliers or good network of your partners, you cannot actually make your supply chain very, very resilient, flexible, whatever the 3 F's, which in the previous session you have heard, you cannot have it. It's impossible to have it. You cannot alone, industry cannot do it. Okay, so anyway, so that is what the supplier has been regarded as one of the driver for supply chain management. If you have the poor connection to the supplier, possibly you cannot do it. Okay, so my discussion would be limited to the suppliers and the problem which we are facing. Try academic system and the practicing side, they try to fill it, they tried something and they come up with a solution, but that solution is really not a real solution. Anyway, so I have, okay, so the theme is basically collaborative supply chain. Is one of the theme of the conference, and building strong vendor partnership. Okay, so as I said, when you have to build the supply chain and you have to work with the good suppliers, efficient suppliers, effective suppliers, it doesn't mean you have only one in the market. You have one in the nearby or whatever in the globe. You have multiple such suppliers. Over the years, in the last 100 years, since the industrial revolution, you can say there are many. If you have to place an order of one raw material, one kind of part, you might have more than one suppliers in the market. In the government system, we have the L1 kind of thing. You give your quotation, they fill up, and you simply say on the basis of the cost parameter, the supplier who provide you this particular item is the lowest one, L1, okay. but it may happen when you give the order, the suppliers go away. The supplier give them raw material, and suppliers simply forget you. Okay, so these are the various challenges which the company faced, maybe the government companies and then PSUs and the many private companies. They have one way of evaluation of suppliers. They, instead of going to the cost as a criteria, they work as a loyalty, flexibility, long-term relations, ownership, etc., etc. Okay, so this so research started. Consultants started providing consultancy on the how to evaluate the suppliers, how to judge the suppliers from the set of suppliers. This supplier will be right for the next 5 year, 3 year, 2 year down the line. Okay, so what happens? In the research started. So this is the one, I don't know how many of you know Ngram Viewer. There's a one tool in the Google. Yesterday night I did this one. That I just put the keyword vendor selection in the Ngram Viewer. And it has given me that 1973 to 2024, actually, it is not coming in the x-axis. So lot of literature, they spoke about the vendor selection. Lot of. So in the y-axis is basically percentage of the time, a percentage of that particular term, which is appeared on the entire scanned textbook or book or records, which is available in the Google platform. So it is too much. So as you see, it's increasing, but after some time, 2010, 15, 13, you can say it's decreased. Okay. So this is a percentage of that this term. If you do this well, you realize that how many times or what is the percentage that is available people talk about. That includes. Okay. And if you go to the literature, you realize that literature, maybe any report, any report by the company, you realize that people try to solve this problem using some kind of method which is available in the literature. Okay, so they applied. So this is the recent one. The source is missing here at 2021 and 22. So these people have published what are the various method which is available to evaluate the suppliers. Okay, so there are two ways to evaluate a supplier. Either you rank it or you give some kind of objective. Okay, I want the supplier who can do this, may minimize the cost or maybe whatever, and you can commit. So ranking is one of the way to evaluate, and the other could be some kind of mathematical function. Okay, so now these are the method. Okay, now this method has also limitation. They will provide you some solution, but if you apply more than one method, you will have different problem. So I am sure that many of you, the PGP, you must have done the research before taking admission to IIM Jammu. You must have seen the ranking. Have you seen the ranking or not ranking? Without ranking, definitely. Why you have seen the ranking? Because you want to be happy. You want to be satisfied with your decision. Okay. But let's say which ranking you have seen? NIF ranking. Is the NIF ranking the only ranking available in the world? Or let's say in the country? There are many rankings. Do all these rankings are same? No. The problem happens here. Okay. And there is no method available till now that what is the final rank. Okay. So I will speak. Okay. I will not provide a solution. You have to find a solution. Okay. So these are the methods which has been applied in literature. Many more could be. I have taken from the published source and they talk about, but this has a limitation. Okay. Now, okay. This is a general way of, if you do some kind of survey, if you're the marketing firm, if you are in the HR side, you can take the survey input data and identify the parameter KRAs, whatever you want to do based on the problem which you are tackling, and you come up with a solution. Okay, but what will happen that time, let me tell you. Okay, so, okay, before that, okay, so from the academic, especially for the academician or especially from the research scholars. So in the year 2023, so in the year 2023 alone, so this is the Elsevier database Scopus. I just simply put supplier selection in the title. The title in the abstract, I got 263 published document. It means there almost one paper every day. Okay. Almost one paper every day you are getting, but they are not talking about the solution. I'm tell you what the problem is. Okay. And there's very good school actually throughout the world, including India. Also, I will show you the next one. China is number 1, India number 2, USA is the number 3, Iran, then UK, France, and so on and so forth. Okay, so every day you are getting one paper where you can see the supplier selection, vendor selection on the title. Okay, if you go into deep, possibly you may have thousands. Okay, so what happened then? I thought, let me check what is happening in the last 5 years. So yeah, so this is the one. Okay, so out of all this document, if you talk, there are 81.7% only on the research articles. Like people have done good amount of research and published the paper, but actually that is not able to tackle the problem, which I will speak with you, which possibly you must have seen during your days, school days, or maybe before taking admission to IIM Jammu. Okay. So let me go to the 5-year data, 21, 25. 25 because in many academic system, what happened, many things they published, they give the year 25 because they have the series of volume issue number, and 24 has gone, so they start 25. 25 doesn't mean that the next year they will take care, only from that point of view. Okay. And if you see, the published 21 to 25, 3949. It is more than 1 per day around. Okay, so this much of article which is published in the last 5 years in the Elsevier only, Scopus, which has title in the title, the abstract, supplier selection, the vendor selection. Okay, but again, they are not providing a solution which we have seen as a problem. Okay, so this is what you can see, like how the graph is going and what are the very countries where the research is being done. So number 1 is basically here is US, then China, then India, and so much of people are working on this particular area because they feel that it is one of the very, very important part to make the supply chain very effective. Okay, so but the problem is still remains same. So that is the problem. Okay, let's see. So I just named some of the institute where IIT Delhi is also coming one of that. Anyway, okay. So okay, and these are the method. These are the methods. Okay. Anyway, artificial intelligence, mathematical modeling, simulation, MCDM, many methods. Statistical method, non-statistical method is coming in the future. Okay. Now the problem happens here. Okay. Now what is happening? Most of this research, or maybe the any consultant who provide the consultancy, they never applied more than one method. As you have realized, not all the rankings are same. Why not all the rankings are same? Any idea? You have seen an IRF, okay, very good. If you see the business standard, business today, many XYG and so on and so forth, the rankings are not same. Why the rankings are not same? Because okay, why they give the different weightage? Okay, it's they are playing the game. Okay, then yeah, somebody want to say? Yes, please speak, no problem. Okay. US not, generally United Nations publish, United Nations. Okay. Any other? Why the rankings are different? Okay. Okay. So this is one, the weightage. Only the weightage is the region, or could be some other region behind it? Weightage play a role. I'm not denying the weightage do not play any role, but weightage is the only responsible for making the rank different, or there is some other region also which make the rank different. Okay, maybe the food for thought. Okay, maybe the criteria, maybe the data which you are collecting from the various sources. That could be also the region. Okay. Anyway, so what is happening to give a solution? Like if you say I am the consultant to any firm, and the firm approached me, or give me the consultancy. I am so much. I have so much of suppliers to whom I have to do the business. But for the last 3 years, 5-year data, I'm not happy with my suppliers. This is the data I have from my report, from my firm. Can you help me provide to whom I have to do with the business? So I did this one. So I have to do some kind of, mathematical modeling, something I will do. I provide a solution to them. Okay. Now what I will do, if I apply multiple method, the method which you have seen the previous slide, sorry. Yeah, the method which you are seeing here, what will happen? I may come up with a different solution. If I apply method 1, method 2, method 3, let's say, I will have a different solution. I cannot provide a solution to my client because I am also confused. Which method I apply? Data has been provided to me by the client to give me a solution. Instead of giving a solution, I'm creating a problem for them. It's not a creating problem. So I say create a problem, then solve it. Okay. So what is happening? Most of the research which has been done in the past, which is happening also, they apply only one method, and they, based on that method, they publish it or they provide a solution. And that is why when you see a ranking, either by this publishing house or this publishing house, NIRF ranking, etc., 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 you will see there is a variation. And the variation is coming because of, one is what you said, weightage. Weightage can be given, can be calculated by some statistical analysis, some data, or maybe the method different, or maybe it's different region. Okay. What will happen at the end? You will have a different rank finally. And if you apply different method and you get different rank, you will never go for to provide a solution to them. Okay. You will say that, okay, I applied this method, it's a solution. You accept it. Okay. So what is happening? If you apply, let's say here, method 1, MCDM is method 1, multi-criteria method. How many methods? 5 methods. So what is the final rank? Or let's say there are alternate supplier 1, alternate supplier 2, up to 8. This is one snapshot I have taken. Okay. So what is the final rank? Any idea? Let's say you got 8 calls from 8 different IIMs, and you have seen 5 different reports, and all the reports are not same. What will take? You cannot take admission to all the IIMs, of course. At the same time, you can't do full-time degree. You have to take a call. What you will do? How you manage? ये मुझे बताइए पहले. टॉस किया होगा? No. How? हाँ पहले आप फिर then. Yeah. For the last 5 years, 3 years. Okay, that's the one approach. Here, luckily, I don't have. Let's say I may have the last 5-year data. Year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5, and all the year, all are different. If you talk about IIM ranking, I know that one IIM was higher in the rank, other IIM has now come at the higher in the rank. It may happen variation across the year. It may happen variation within the year across different ranking. Anyway, then, okay, that I agree. Then somebody wanted to say from this side. Yes, please. I couldn't see who is speaking.
Sir, we'll take the average.
You can take the average. Okay. Okay. So please do not take the average. You never take the average. If you take the average, your answer will be some in real number, and then you can't. Again, you come into the problem. You are facing a problem. You are reaching to another problem by taking the average. Okay. How to handle this? Sorry, I don't have solution. I want a solution from. That's why I have come here. Yes. I thought you are from IIM. You could provide some solution. Okay. So finally, it's your call. But let me say here, you cannot decide the goalpost after you have decided the game has to be played. So you have to decide the variable before applying the method. So you collected the data from the market. Let's say market means, let's say IMA 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 different IMs. What are the parameters you want to, like placement report, infrastructure, etc., etc. So 7, 8 different criteria. Okay. And then you applied. Now you cannot change anything. After this, again, you will get different. It's coming. So we have done some work with some Swiss company, and we got into trouble 3-4 years back during the COVID time, and we were in the trouble how to actually provide a solution. Okay. Anyway, so any other idea how to come with the final? Yes. That could be one, but I did not try. You try later, sure. Possibly. Okay. Yes. Okay. Let's say this is the answer for your analysis. What is the final call?
The consistency of one particular.
Where do you see consistency here?
Sir, in the first row 2, 3, 1, 2.
Still, it is very simple, not very tough, but still.
So, for example, in the A8 alternative, we have 7, 8, 8, 7, 8. So we it is on the lower side. So its ranking will be 8th most probably, because we have 3 frequency for the 8th rank.
Okay, so mode approach you are trying to say,
yes,
frequency, mode approach. Okay, that may also not work. The complexity will increase. Okay, what is the possible? Okay, so this is, let's say, method 1. What is the method? Let's say 8 different schools you want to rank. I'm coming to the school because you are in the school. Otherwise, it's a supplier selection. Okay. Okay. So 8 is school. So what is the possible rank you can get? 8 factorial. 8 factorial.
Yes.
Okay. Now, if you love to see ranking by this company, that company, this company, this government, that government. Okay. You have increased the what is n factorial to the power? To the power? Number of the method, number of the. So you have increased your problem exponential, and you cannot get solution in your lifetime. So the complexity is very high. Anyway, so final rank. Any suggestion? Okay, ठीक है. Anyway, so let me go ahead. Where do you see there would be no confusion in your mind? Where do you see there will be no confusion in your mind to come the final rank? Yes. When? Yeah, थोड़ा जोर से बोलिए. If the scores are same, okay. Yes, she's right. It's the most ideal case. The most ideal case is that what she said is that the scores are same, which is the most idealistic situation. No problem. All the ranks are wherever you go the world, you will see this school is the top school, or this supplier is the best supplier for the company. I don't know. Okay, so sorry. Yeah, I think, okay, so I'm just coming to her point. Okay, this situation, like this situation is the best situation. No. Yes. Yeah, ideal one. This is the ideal one. Wherever you go, whatever report you see all the report is the most reliable. You don't need to apply any brain. Just aankh band karo, admission le lo. But will it happen? Did it happen? Will it happen? Neither happened, not happening, and never happen also. Because there is a variation in the method, there is a variation in the application of the method, there is a variation in the the equations and something you write it, some calculation you do. There always happens. Okay. Even though if you try to minimize, it may not happen that very likely that you will get the different answers. Okay. So what is happening? So ideal case you will never get in your life. And similarly in the business organization, when we talk to the suppliers, so supplier do not want to work with only one supplier. They need to work with a 3-4 supplier, close suppliers to whom they can trust, long-term relationship. They can provide some kind of they can build some kind of ownership with the suppliers, and they can. It's not a question of only one supplier. Like in your case, only one IIM you want to take admission. In the business world, we have to take first. Let's say HR department, they want to recruit someone for the top position. They called 8 application, and different board member has a different opinion about the candidate, but they cannot offer to all candidates. They have to make an offer to only one candidate who is going to be the CEO for the next 1 year, 2 year, 3 year down the line. Okay, what they will do? And every board member has a say in the decision making process. What to do? So you can, let me say, how many of you are married actually? Please, it's no shy. So I know those who are married, but those who are, I don't know. How many of you are married? All are unmarried. All are unmarried. Okay, this is a very relevant problem for you. Okay, let's say you got 8 profile. Your mother said this. Your mother is MBA. Your father is MBA. Your uncle, auntie, all decision makers in the family decision. If you have to run away, that nobody can do anything. But you have to apply the method. You can't marry everybody. To whom you have to marry? What is the final call? Family call. Group decision making. So again, it become a problem for you, and you will never have this situation ideally. आपने हिंदी मूवी देखी होगी, इसमें कभी ऐसा नहीं होता. All has a different rank. The problem will happen. Same problem happening in the research world. They are not able to provide a solution. Okay, anyway, I will also not provide a solution. Okay, so what is happening? This is the real situation. Sorry, there is a so this is a problem. I have just given a simple data, but this is a problem. Still you can't solve it. And if you have big pool and something, it become very, very difficult problem anyway. So what happens in social science, there is a concept of consensus. You know consensus? What is mean by consensus? A large number of, okay, there is a agreement to some point. Consensus among all the jury member, even I don't know how many have you seen, there is something happened in the judicial system also. They could not reach to solution, and finally another jury is being formed to provide some kind of solution. Consensus. Okay, so I named a consensus ranking. I think during that time when I faced the problem and I could not get a solution. So is there any literature available how to come up, what is method for consensus ranking? So let me come here. So in the technological world, it takes 1 second from here to here. Okay, so it happens, no problem. Yeah, so I just tried to see in the, again, Ngram viewer. So mostly consensus word has been used in the social science, but not in the management science and not in the, you can say, supply chain context. There is no single article available which is speak about how to come with the consensus ranking. Let's say if you love 10 different methods, if you love taking data from all the decision maker, if you like to include in your decision making all the people into it, there should be the final consensus. Okay, there is no article available, there no, and people are not doing research. Okay, so my one point is that it is good to publish a paper, it is good to do a research on a very highly researched area, but let us not repeat, let us not reinvent the wheel. Let us find the problem which they have and provide a solution. So that is the one thing which I want to highlight. Okay. So this word I will not say we have coined, but we have used this word consensus ranking in the context of supply chain. And why it is? Because there is a variation in the ranking, bring the consensus considering all the variation. And finally, we did something. So I will not say we have not done anything, but again, there is more to be done. And decision science model to arrive some solution. Okay. And what is decision science model? I cannot show you the running because laptop, they should have the software here. Okay. So there is a variation which we understood very well. What is the variation? Different. Okay. So this ideal one already you see, and then yeah. Okay. Okay. So this is a real one. Okay. So what we did. Okay. So last. Yeah. Okay. Before. Yeah. So okay. So can you bring? So did you face any time problem in your so far life, 20 or 25 years of the life, where you want to bring a solution between 3-4 people together, tackling a problem, you want to bring a solution. Bina ladai jhagda ki maar peet ke. That is the consensus. What you try to minimize. When there is no fight. When there is agreement. Correct? When there is agreement. Correct? When there can be agreement. It's a social science problem. It's not a management science. It's a social science problem. When there can be agreement, means there is no deviation between your thinking and your partner thinking, your supply chain partner, or maybe to whom you want to do business or to whom you want to marry or whatever. Okay? So when there is no deviation, when there is no conflict, it means that you are in the same side. No conflict, no deviation is a consensus, and you can take a decision. But in the mathematics or in the you can say decision science model, these are not so easy. Okay, so saying is easy, but it's not very easy. So what I did, our group did that we tried to apply some basic concepts of operation research and try to apply a deviation analytics, or you can say the goal programming, not exactly the goal programming, but is the MILP based on the deviation. And we try to find it out what rank final, what consensus rank final can minimize the deviation with respect to all the rank which has been given to us. Or you have taken the data from all the stakeholder decision maker from the boardroom, and you say that I'm not ignoring any board member, because all the board members have very good amount of say in the decision-making process. I cannot make one happy, other unhappy. I have taken all the data from every board member, put together all the data and see this is the only solution which minimize the total deviation from all this. If you change this, your deviation will go up. The best is, what is the best deviation value? What is the best deviation value? 0. You know, na? So say 0. Can you get a 0 here? Impossible. You can't get 0, whatever the final conclusion. So what you can do? You can minimize the deviation. Whether they know the operation research or they don't know, but they can minimize it. So anyway, so to minimize, you have to develop some kind of model. I did something, it's a complex, seems to be simple, but when you solve in R or Python, it takes time. Okay, so I tried to solve in the lingo. There's one optimization package. I cannot show you. And when we solve it, this is sample example, illustration 1. We get some kind of solution, and this solution saying that yeah. So this solution that saying that the final solution, what you are seeing in the red, that will deviate with respect to all with the amount 30. If you change this one, it will increase 100%. You cannot decrease. So either you agree or you collect another data. So you have only one option. Either you accept it or reject it. Whatever. If you see it has a type 1 error, if you reject the null hypothesis, or if a type 2 error, whether you have received the wrong hypothesis. Okay. So, but the moment you change it, your deviation will go up. So they have to stay. So this is the consensus ranking, which, but again, it has some problem, because if you increase the size of the problem, possibly you may not get a solution. So thank you very much. I think I finished well before the time. And if you have any question, I would love to take it. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks. Okay.
Thank you, Professor Singh, for your enlightening talk and for providing actionable insights for today's challenges in the supply chain management.
To conclude the inaugural ceremony, I call upon Dr. Pratik Maheshwari, Program Chair of IIM Jammu, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Good afternoon, all of you. So first of all, I would like to thank Professor B.S. Sahai, who provided this opportunity to organize this conference. And I would like to thank all the dignitaries, those who come for this conference, especially Professor Roy, Mr. Kamal Sharma, Professor S.P. Singh, and two of our special professors joined online, Professor Rameshwar Dubey, Professor H.M. Bilal, Seri Fofon. So this particular conference is basically looking toward the new opportunity in terms of supply chain and logistic. And I hope all the session you will going to enjoy, and you just find out the things what is best for the logistics and supply chain, and try to make India as a Vishwaguru in the vision of Viksit Bharat 2047. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Maheshwari, for acknowledging everyone who participated and contributed towards the success of this inaugural session. Now I would request everyone to please stand up for the national anthem.
मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे.
As we conclude the inaugural session, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our distinguished dignitaries, esteemed speakers, and all the participants for making this event a remarkable success right from the start.
We look forward to a fruitful and inspiring experience over the next 2 days. Once again, thank you all for being part of this exciting journey.
Let the conversations begin and the innovations flow. Thank you and enjoy the rest of the conference.
Lunch. The conference participants can now move to the cafeteria for the lunch, and next session will start at 2:10 at the Vivekananda classroom on the first floor.